We'll call this December 3rd, 2025 meeting of the James City County Planning Commission to order. Ms. Lystenis, please call the roll.
Dr. Haskins.
Present.
Dr. Haskins is an at-large member. Dr. Allman. Mr. May.
Here.
Mr. May represents the Powhatan District. Mr. Everson.
Here.
Mr. Everson represents the Stonehouse District. Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Mr. Rogers represents the Berkeley District. Mr. Polster.
Here.
Mr. Polster represents the Jamestown District. Mr. Haldeman.
Here.
Mr. Haldeman is an at-large member and will be presiding over this meeting as the chair of the commission. I'm Susan Istanis. I'm the director of planning for the county, and it's my pleasure to serve as the secretary to the commission. Sitting to my left is Ms. Liz Parman, deputy county attorney. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We now have time for public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address, pardon me, the planning commission on a subject not subject to a public hearing tonight. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. I have one speaker card, Mr. Harry Fall. Mr. Fall? If you'd like to address, this is not about one of the public hearings? No, this is regarding the Cardinal Ridge. Oh, no, you'll have an opportunity later. Thank you. Okay. Would anybody else like to address the commission at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports of the commission. The Development Review Committee, Mr. Polster.
The Development Review Committee met at 4 p.m. on the 13th of November. The committee members present were Jack Haldeman, Steve Rogers, Frank Polster. Staff members present were Morgan Riesinger, Senior Planner, Hannah Honeycutt, and the applicant Jenny May from Marquee Homes Incorporated. Conceptual Plan 250041, 108 Wicker Street, Overhead Utility Waiver. Section 24-200C of the zoning ordinance requires all new utility connections to be placed underground. The applicant has requested a waiver to this requirement. The applicant, Marquee Homes Incorporated, is constructing a single-family detached dwelling on the 108 Wicker Street property. Existing Dominion Energy power lines are located on the opposite side of the street. Dominion evaluated the potential of installing an underground line to the single-family detached dwelling from the nearest existing power pole located on 7115 Merrimack Trail property. The applicant contacted the owner of the 7115 Merrimack Trail property to discuss acquiring an underground utility easement, and the owner of the property confirmed that they will not grant an underground utility easement to the applicant. The applicant and Dominion are instead proposing to connect an overhead power line from the existing power pole located on 7115 Merrimack Trail property to a new 35.5-foot tall power pole to be located on 108 Wicker Street property. The DRC, with a vote of 3-0, voted to recommend approval of the waiver request to the Planning Commission, and that's on our agenda tonight. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
No questions? Policy Committee, Mr. Everson.
Yes. The Policy Committee met at 3 p.m. on Thursday, the 13th of November. Policy Committee members present were Mr. Polster, Mr. Haldeman, Dr. Haskins, and myself. Dr. Allman was absent, tending to her newborn daughter. Ms. Parrish and Ms. Probst were, I hope I pronounced that right, were staff present. Also present was Mr. Lung from the Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District. The purpose of the meeting was to finalize the committee's recommendation requiring stocking rates. Ms. Probst provided an overview of the previous meeting's discussion and the issues raised. These issues included lowering stocking rates in all applicable districts, a tiered system allowing for simpler process when stocking rates could be met, and additional requirements if they weren't, setbacks for manure and usable land. Also, the soil and water conservation folks suggested specific language to avoid confusion regarding horses. In other words, the definition be clear. Mr. Haldeman raised the issue of a 100-foot setback for manure piles from water and wells. Ms. Probst stated that the issue of steep slopes should be considered when determining buffers. Ms. Probst will follow up with the environmental people to include Newport News Waterworks regarding manure buffers, specifically as it relates to creeks. Mr. Polster expressed concern where the manure pile was, the length of time, and proper storage. Hang on, my sheet's stuck together. Okay. There was a somewhat extended discussion of the actual manure situation. Ms. Probst has, in the past, has been a horse owner and provided pertinent information to the committee. The staff explained the benefits of a tiered approach for obtaining a permit, which would include involvement by the Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District and/or Newport News Waterworks. This involvement would be important to determining appropriate setbacks for a property in question. The committee further discussed a number of other related issues. Staff pointed out that enforcement initially may be difficult for horse operations already here, whether individual or commercial. However, citizens' complaints regarding any particular horse operation would, I missed a word here. Particular horse operation would getting them into compliance with an ordinance, a specific ordinance, would be a lot easier. Discussion regarding manure waste management plan ensued. The consensus ended up being that the soil and water conservation people would be best suited to work with a horse owner regarding a manure plan. Then the question of who pays came up. Mr. One stated that an option would be for the Colonial Soil Water Conservation District to charge to draw up a plan. Mr. Parrish noted that the issue of who pays is important. We do not have a horse inventory and the possibility that many citizens could be in non-compliance. A lot of discussion about the cost of compliance continued. Mr. Long noted that neither the size of the property nor the number of horses would impact cost, but time and travel would. Committee agreed that staff can address cost of developing appropriate plans. The staff would determine what state code requires for these types of plans, and the plans would be developed by a Department of Conservation Resources certified individual. Mr. Long stated that the state does not necessarily define a plan, but leaves it to the Colonial Soil and Water Conservation District. The committee voted to have the staff move forward with an equine stocking rate ordinance, and PC will likely see this, I believe, in the January 26th meeting. We adjourned moments before 4 o'clock. That's my report. I don't know if there's any questions,
Questions of Mr.
comments, or
Everson?
queries.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are deemed non-controversial. However, any commissioner can pull an item for further discussion. There are 2 items for consideration on the consent agenda: the minutes of the November 5th, 2025 meeting and development review action item C-25-0041 that Mr. Polster reviewed earlier this evening. Would any commissioner like to pull a topic from the consent agenda, or may I have a motion?
I'll move the consent agenda.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We'll move on to public hearings. The first public hearing is Z-25-0007 and MP Master Plan 25-0005, the Williamsburg Pottery Proffer and Master Plan Amendment. This hearing is continued from the October and November meetings, and so the public hearing is already open. Mr. Sirico.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Ms. Dawn Griggs of Dalmer has applied for a proffer and master plan amendment to allow for the inclusion of institutional uses on the previous adopted master plan. This property is commonly known as Pottery. It consists of 3 large buildings with a small outbuilding. It is currently zoned M1, Limited Business and Industrial with proffers, and is designated as mixed use in the 2045 Comprehensive Plan. A master plan amendment change is needed to allow for Coastal Community Church in institutional use to occupy Building B, the large central structure on future parcel A2 as shown on the proposed master plan. Institutional uses are currently not permitted under the current master plan. The church has proposed seating capacity of 1,000 people with 208 parking spaces available. The zoning ordinance requires 200 parking spaces for that proposed capacity. The applicant has proffered a parking agreement to be recorded prior to certificate of occupancy that provides an additional 50 parking spaces through a parking easement with the Pottery to alleviate any parking congestion between services. Per provided proffer number 3, for any use of the place of public assembly that exceeds 50 people, there shall be a 30-minute interval between each use. Additionally, traffic management will be provided per proffer number 5. To further mitigate traffic impacts, the applicant has provided proffer number 4, which would limit the weekday use of material place of public assembly on any weekday that is not federally recognized from occurring between the hours of recognized holiday from occurring between the hours of 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. and 5:30 a.m. Proffer number 3 in the agenda packet states that the interval will be an hour. The correct interval time is 30 minutes. The change will be included into the item submitted to the board. Staff finds the proposed rezoning and master plan amendment to be compatible with surrounding development and consistent with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the proposed rezoning and proffer amendment subject to the proposed proffers. Staff is available for any questions, and the applicant is available as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Sirico?
I had just one. On the proper number 3, it says a period of 1 hour, but on page 4 of the your narrative, it says 30 minutes. Am I missing something here?
Yes, that was part of the previous proffers provided by the applicant, and that has since been amended to be 30 minutes, and that's going to be the one that staff accepts.
So the proper number 3 should take 30 minutes and not 1 hour.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it says, is it a traffic thing where it says that 5 people per car or something like this?
Yes.
That's a lot. That's it.
Questions? Thank you very much. Would the applicant like to make a presentation? Or? Thank you.
Hi, guys. How are you? Commission, thank you for hearing us this evening. We're really glad to be here. I think I actually have some slides, too, to tell you a little bit about us as a church. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sean Brown. I'm the pastor, founding pastor of the church. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a pastor. I'm supposed to be honest. I'm a little bit nervous. I've never done anything like this before. Usually when I get invited to a meeting like this, I'm asked to open or close with prayer. So I want to say thank you to the staff of James City County. They have really helped us in working hard. I want to thank you all as the commission for hearing us. And I'm going to... if you guys have questions, which I'm sure you do, I'm hopeful to answer some of them. And then I have brought my team with me, and I'll introduce my team tonight. One of the things I've learned as a pastor is to hire people smarter than you. So I have some people smarter than me here tonight to answer some of your questions. But let me talk quickly about our church and let you know our ask. We are looking to purchase, and this is our next slide, we're looking to purchase Pottery Building B. And we're looking to house our church and have a permanent place for our church. We're currently renting at the Welsingham Church School, and our hope is to purchase Pottery B. And our hope is to make minimal changes to the outside. We're looking to have a 1,000-seat auditorium. We want to house our coastal kids space, and we want to use this building for light office space. And so to do that, we needed to both amend the proffers and to amend the master plan. And so that's what we're asking the commission to approve tonight. And so for our next slide, a couple things about us, our history. I started the church 25 years ago. We started in Grafton High School in a rental facility. And during that 25 years, we have grown to 7 campuses that extend from Chesapeake all the way to Richmond, and one of our campuses is in Williamsburg. All 7 of our campuses have a permanent facility, except our Williamsburg campus, and so that's why we are looking to purchase Pottery Building B. We regularly revitalize building spaces that already exist in the community. It's not that we've never purchased or built from the ground up. We have, but we like to use buildings that are already in the community. And so several of our campuses, we have adopted and revitalized spaces And so that's what we're looking to do with the Pottery purchase. We currently have, as far as our community impact, we have over 3,500 people that attend our church across our 7 campuses. We have a vital children and student ministry. We believe we're developing the future leaders that will be sitting in these chairs one day. That's our hope. So sitting in my chair one day. We want to be good neighbors. We love to help our community. We do thousands of meals. We feed thousands of people every single month with our food ministry, hot meals. We have English classes for non-English speakers in our community. Christmas gifts, thousands of families that don't have Christmas gifts, we provide that for them each Christmas. And so that's just some of our local ministries. And like I said, our only campus without a current permanent facility is our Williamsburg campus. We launched this campus 2 years ago. We sent 150 people out of our Yorktown campus, and we're currently leasing 1100 Jamestown Road. And it has grown to over 600 people in your community, mostly from your community right here. And in fact, on our, you might imagine in church life, holidays like Christmas Eve and Easter, last Easter, we had almost 1,000 people attending our facility. So it's a big impact in our community. And so we have a need. And our need is we need a permanent home. And so our goal is to have a facility that will be great neighbors here in James City County for many, many years and minister to both the physical and the spiritual needs of the people in this community. And so for us to have that stability and that presence, we are hoping to pass the proposal for the amendment here today of the proffers and the master plan so that the Pottery will be that place for us. I want to introduce you to my team a little bit. These are some of the people I may bring up for some of the questions. Andrew Oates is our executive pastor, does an incredible job. He's helped us build and revitalize several of our spaces. Jeff Fry is on our staff. He's our executive director of operations. He does this as well. Mark Thompson in the middle. I don't know, is Mark here tonight? He's not here. Mark's not here tonight. He is a retired engineer. And anytime we do a project like this, he takes the lead on the project and sees it through to completion. Adam Reimer is back here on my left. He works for AES. He's both a member of our church and works for AES and has helped us with the master plan. And then Tim Trant is our lawyer that has helped us with our proffers. I also want to introduce you to Dawn Griggs. She's our real estate agent. Has done an incredible job. And Pastor Colin, where are you? I want to introduce you to Pastor Colin. He actually pastors the Williamsburg campus. He's an incredible young leader, and he really is the pastor that your neighbors here in the James City County area will know, and that's Pastor Colin Curtis. And I know he's got a lot of his leadership team here. We have a large campus. We didn't want to fill the place. We could have, but we just asked some of our key leaders to come because they're very, very excited as well about this possibility and this opportunity in front of us. We know one of the questions of the team, obviously, is traffic and the economy. And I think our church brings some great help to the economy. And we can go to the next slide. Traffic is a huge concern, of course. And one of the things that I think that a church mitigates is we don't meet during rush hour times. We meet on odd times. We meet on Sundays. We're not going to have a huge traffic concern. All of what we do happens at non-rush hour traffic times, which is one of the reasons we like the Pottery. We think it's a great location for us and a great location for the community. And we are pretty skilled at mitigating the traffic on the parking lot, right? And we have the same concern you do. I always say this, if one of my members or our guests have to sit in a parking lot for 45 minutes after service, they're not coming back, and then we won't have a traffic problem anyway. So we want to mitigate that. We are skilled at that. We do that at several of our sites. And in fact, one of my staff members who's not here tonight that is responsible for our traffic and parking at all our sites is the retired chief of police of Pocosa. And so Cliff Bowen, that's his job, and that's why we do this well at all our sites, including here in James City County. So I think most businesses actually like to see a church go in nearby. because we don't take anything from their business. We just provide. People come in, they attend on Sunday morning, and they go out and they support the businesses in James City County. And sometimes those people come from counties outside of James City County and spend money in the county. And we see that happen at our Yorktown campus all the time. And so I think most of the local businesses enjoy having us there and appreciate them. Our members filling up their restaurants and their gas stations afterwards. So the next slide is a little bit of a dated slide. This was a slide that we were working on a couple weeks ago and working with the staff and their concerns. And so I think we've addressed these concerns with our updated proffers and proposals and master plan. And the staff has recommended for our approval to both the master plan and the proffers. I think the next slide is the AES plat. I'm sure you all have seen that. And this is, when I start looking at plats and master plans, I'm punching above my pay grade. So I would ask AES to answer any of those questions. And so why does all this matter for James City County? Well, we at Coastal Church have a history of revitalizing spaces, a proven history. We've done it. We know that if we can finalize the purchase of the Pottery, we will be able to revitalize this space. We will bring life to this end of the community. All of our spaces we try to make look excellent to represent the community well and represent our church well. And we're dedicated to being a positive presence in this neighborhood and in all the neighborhoods where our campuses reside. And I want you to know that if you join with us in this, you will have an opportunity to make an impact both locally and also globally. My phone's going off. My dad is in the hospital right now, so I'm sorry about that. I was calling my mom on the way here. But we make an impact not only locally but all around the world. And I wish I had time to give you all the things that the people of James City County would have an opportunity to make a difference around the world in compassion and care. And so I want to thank you for your time, and we want to be valuable members in the community, and thank you for your consideration, and we are hopeful that we will get your approval to both the proffers and to the master plan. So with that, I will take your questions and try to answer them as best I can.
Thank you. Any
Thank you.
questions? I have one.
Yes, sir.
The meals you mentioned,
Yeah.
where will you serve them and what time?
Well, we currently serve them at the Yorktown campus, and so the Yorktown campus has I don't know if I can even go back to, I think the very first slide has a picture of our Yorktown. We had purchased and renovated the old Kroger building.
But it won't be at this.
Probably not, but I'm not saying we never would. Colin, what are some of so this is our current campus, and this one has like freezers and things like that. And we're not doing hot meals. This one is the third Saturday of the month. Community families come and they get enough groceries to feed their family for a week. That's what we intend to do. So, Colin, what are some of the outreaches we do? Pastor Colin. Those are some of our local outreaches.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a follow-on question to what you asked. Then, do you intend at some point to be able to do the same thing at your new location in terms of food outreach, that sort of thing?
We always want to help the community, so I don't want to say yes or no. Some of that, do you see that as a good thing or as a bad thing? I mean, we always want to help our community for sure.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we need that badly. And our nonprofit and our religious units of the county support a great deal. So I guess maybe the question is of staff.
Yeah.
Is there anything that would prevent them from doing this?
What prompted my question was it's not in the application. The application says small group meetings, Bible studies, and office hours
Right.
aside
And I
from your
would-
two services.
I would say something like that would be a small group meeting. I mean, when we do that on Saturday morning at Yorktown, it's certainly not, I think we were trying to answer the high traffic questions on Sunday morning was the intent of our proposal. Anything that happens on a Saturday is less, I mean, the peak time for us as a church is like 9:30 on Sunday morning. That's everything else is diminishing. Even when we do a second or a third service as a site,
Okay.
it's never as full as.
I'll just offer this comment to you. is the Board of Supervisors are very concerned about that issue to the point that they had a meeting in here, and in front of this piece were all the groceries that were donated by the county staff. And so I think you'll find a very sympathetic ear
Oh, that's
about
great.
what you're intending to do.
Yeah.
And as long as there's nothing to prevent you from doing that, I would,
We'd love to do
I would
that.
applaud it.
Yeah, so some of it is site dependent. Like one of our sites, like we do hot meals because we have kitchens. Not all our areas have kitchens. Obviously, the Pottery doesn't have a kitchen, but I think you'll see us do gifts for sure for the needy families in the community. We'll see us do. In fact, I think I failed to mention that. I think we give out over 1,000 backpacks to the school systems to help with needy families, and so all of that will be easily done. I think some of the food distribution challenge is refrigeration, and we are looking, Pastor Andrew, you could speak to this, I think we're looking to buy a refrigerated truck to move our food distribution to other sites
I
as
think,
well, so,
I think we've covered this. Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Um,
You gave a preacher a microphone, so I know you're trying to shut him up and move on, so it's a risk.
Finished or?
I'm finished, yes,
Okay,
I
great.
didn't know if you had
I
more.
have speaker cards for public, an opportunity for the public to speak on this matter. And the first of which is Andrew Oates. Would you please state your name? Obviously, I just did, but state it again and your address. And you have 5 minutes.
My name's Andrew Oates, and I'm just the executive pastor at Coastal. I just wanted to put the speaker card down just to say if there was anything that you wanted to ask. So they asked me to put that down, if there was any other questions concerning the ministries and things that we're doing. If there's no questions, then I have nothing to say.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott Myers.
Alderman and board, thank you so much for listening to. I just wanted to speak in favor of the church and their taking over this derelict building. I'm not a resident of James City County, but I'm a businessman. I'm a real estate broker, and I've done business on all sides of James City County, including, it's funny, you're on your agenda, 108 Wicker Street. I listed and sold that lot to Marquee Homes last year, and then also on the other side, Mirror Lakes community. So I'm through the streets of James City County. I serve the residents of James City County, and if there's one thing that people would say about that building is, other than the architecture, hopefully somebody moves in there and actually revitalizes it, because it's just been kind of an eyesore. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other speaker cards on this subject. Would anybody else like to speak to this subject? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Discussion by the commissioners or a motion?
I'll make a motion that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the board for rezoning 25-007 Master Plan Amendment and 25-005 68110 Richmond Road, the Williamsburg Pottery Proffer and Master Plan Amendment.
Thank you very much. Ms. Stennis, please call the roll.
Mr. Polster.
Aye.
Mr. Rogers.
Aye.
Mr. Everson.
Aye.
Mr. May.
Aye.
Dr. Haskins.
Aye.
Mr. Haldeman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Can't talk tonight, I'm sorry. I'm going to break with protocol here for a second. We have a speaker card who wanted to speak on, just for public comment, Mr. Andrew Huckleby. We'll break with tradition and come on up and please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Andrew Huckabee. I live at 115 Deerwood Drive, and I love breaking the traditions. I'm glad I could do it. Well, thank you for having me here, but I'm here to talk about, I'm not expecting anything from this, but I'm still, thinking about the Summer Place subdivision and thinking about how it relates to the James City County Code 19-12, the vacation of recorded plats. And just wanted to say that. That's pretty much all I wanted to say for the public comment.
Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
We'll move on to the next public hearing. SUP 25-0014, 4300 John Tyler Highway, Williamsburg School for the Arts and Innovation. Ms. Chakura.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Planning Commissioners. As indicated, this is a special use permit for a private school at 4300 John Tyler Highway. Krista John of Williamsburg School of Arts and Innovation is the applicant, proposing to utilize the existing property, which was a former daycare, Bright Horizons, has 2 existing buildings, improved parking lot and drive aisles, as well as 2 fenced areas with outdoor recreation for children. The land is zoned R8 rural residential and designated in the land use comprehensive plan as low-density residential. Oh, my apologies, wrong direction. They are proposing primarily to serve homeschool students as an option for a focused arts and theater type program. They can speak more to that. 25 to 30 students would be during their rehearsals. They are anticipating having to manage parking during those rehearsals, but they would be utilizing the existing parking lot and not proposing any exterior changes. They would be proposing interior changes to the 2 buildings. The 2045 comprehensive plan does consider schools as appropriate within low-density residential with certain standards, which staff does find that this complies with those, and therefore staff is recommending that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors with the proposed conditions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Ms. Jacora? Any disclosures on the part of the commissioners? Thank you. We'll open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to make a presentation or? Oh, there we go.
Hello. My name's Krista John, and I have a presentation with lots of pictures of kids on it for you guys tonight. I am the founder of Williamsburg School for the Arts and Innovation. I'm a local mom, homeschool mom. I've been an educator for almost 20 years, about 18 years. And I am excited to share with you what we're doing and tell you a little bit more about what we want to use the space for on John Tyler Highway. Go to the first slide. So we started offering some programs over the last year. We've been using some community spaces. Williamsburg Community Chapel has opened up their rooms to us to have rehearsals over the last year for our theater productions. We've used the Stryker Center and some other local spaces to start offering much needed classes for homeschool students during the daytime to access more options for arts and other educational classes that are currently not an option for homeschool students right now. So we offer a flexible schedule and different enrichment options, as well as our theater program, which happens after school. We have small class sizes and a very supportive and creative environment. Can we go to the next slide? So our classes consist of visual arts. We offer fine arts classes. We have full theater productions. We have acting classes, music classes. We have some design and backstage tech classes, STEM classes, and some other hands-on project-based learning. As I said before, we have flexible daytime options for homeschoolers, and in our plan that we propose, we're also hoping to add some after-school options so that kids, no matter where they go to school or what age they are, have access to more options like this in our community, which currently don't exist right now. As well as summer camp. Sorry, left that out. The location, 4300 John Tyler Highway, was a daycare before, as Allison mentioned, so we're not proposing to really change the use of it, just shifting it over to more school-age children occupying the building site. The layout already supports what we're trying to do for the most part. We're proposing making some very minimal changes on the inside and really no changes to the outside of the building at all. But the sides of it is going to allow us to grow these programs, which we've identified as a need for our community. Traffic or parking came up. We believe that the existing parking is sufficient for what we're trying to do, so we don't anticipate that being any option. Because we have flexible schedules, we don't have any one mass drop-off or pickup time during the day, so there's really no, not like everyone is showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. people are coming and going all throughout the day, depending on the times their classes start or end or when we have rehearsals. So there's really no traffic impact at all that we've identified. And I believe the Planning Commission has, agrees that the staff recommended that that was okay, the way that it is right now. So a little bit about what we're trying to do here. As I mentioned, we identified a need. There is currently no year-round performing arts program in our community. So we are trying to fill that need and then also fill the need for homeschool families to have some more options during the daytime, specifically in the arts. We are also trying to build partnerships with local organizations and local artists. And we feel that our program is going to bring some really meaningful benefits to our community long term. We've had a very strong support from our community. We had over 40 kids in our last production of The Wizard of Oz, which was wonderful to see so many kids come out to participate in our show. Up from, we had 30 in our first production, so we have a growing need to continue expanding these programs, and the space will allow us to do that. So that's pretty much it. I've never done this before, so if you have any questions, please let me know. We're asking for your approval of the special use permit so we can continue growing these programs.
Any questions of Ms. John? I just have one. The building's currently empty, is it not?
It has been empty for over a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a fistful of speaker cards here, the first of which is Logan John.
Yeah, okay. Hi, my name is Logan John. I'm 11 years old, and I want to share why Williamsburg School for the Arts and Innovation is important to our community. As a homeschool student, WSA is opening up opportunities I've never had as a homeschool student before. Also, it's fun. We have the best community. Theater helps us build confidence, teamwork, and creativity. In our classes, we learn all about music, theater, art, also history, writing, leadership, and even math. We want more kids and families to be involved. We ask you to please support and approve the permit.
Thank you. Good job. Is there anyone here who would like to speak against this application?
What? You're kidding.
Thank you. Everybody here is entitled to speak tonight, but my sense is that we'll hear a lot of the same comments. If you'd like to just stand to show your support and give up your right to speak, we can move this thing forward more quickly. If you would really like to make a point, feel free to do so. So everyone who supports this, would you please stand up? Great. Thank you. Again, I have speaker cards. Would anybody like to speak? You're more than welcome to do so if you'd like. Sure. Please state your name and address.
My name is Sylvie Berquist, and my address is 126 Crown Point Road. And thank you for giving me a chance to speak. And I'm here in support for Williamsburg School of Arts and Innovation, especially their Page to Stage children's theater program. I was in the cast of The Wizard of Oz, and I had a lot of fun there because they were very supportive, and I made a lot of new friends. By giving the school a permit, you will make this experience I had available for more young people like me. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Anybody else? We had just a couple of hands. Yes, young lady. Nice try.
Hi, my name is Ava. We are a military family, so we move a lot. We moved to Williamsburg a year ago. Moving often is hard because you have to leave your friends and start over. But when I joined this school, I made lots of friends. I love the classes, especially theater and music. Theater helps me project and build confidence. For art, I love sewing. And in Shakespeare, I learned drawing. I study plays and performances. I am very thankful for the school.
Thank you very much. Young lady there, come on up.
Hello, my name is Mabel Thorpe. I'm a 10-year-old homeschooler from James City County. My family and I really enjoy attending the plays put on by the local middle schools and high schools. But I've always left feeling bummed that I didn't have the opportunity to be part of a theater production. So when I learned about Page to Stage, I was so excited to have the chance to be in a play. My sister and I have been in both productions that Page to Stage has put on, and we've loved every second of it. I've learned so much through acting, singing, dancing, and even some set design. Being in these productions has taught me the importance of hard work, perseverance, teamwork, and I've become much more confident in speaking in front of people. Page to Stage brings kids together from all over this area, and I now have so many close friends from so many different schools. I'm grateful for the wonderful memories I've made with them, and I look forward to making many more in future productions of Page to Stage. Thank you for your consideration to support this organization and other kids like me in our community.
Thank you. You are competent in speaking before people. Anybody else? Yes, come on ahead. Please state your name and address.
My name is Izzy John, and my address is 4 Sheffield Road. I just want to say, WSA is the best school I've ever been to, and I just love the classes. I've made so many new friends, and theater is the best community I've ever been in. Wizard of Oz was my favorite show I've ever been, and I just wanted to say something.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for discussion or a motion.
I just wanted to say that the reuse of this facility is just a great way to do this, and I'm very happy to be able to support that. And unless anybody else has got any comments, I'll move that the Planning Commission recommend approval of special use permit 250014 4300 John Tyler Highway, Williamsburg School of the Arts and Innovations with conditions.
Ms. Stennis, please call the vote.
Mr. Polster?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Everson?
Enthusiastically, aye.
Mr. May?
Aye.
Dr. Haskins?
I was actually going to make the motion.
You being
Aye.
They're neighbors, see, that's why I formed in.
And Mr. Haldeman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for coming. We'll move on to the next public hearing, which is special use permit 25-0007, 4797 Fenton Mill Road, Contractor's Office. Mr. Alveston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. That is a tough act to follow, but I shall do my best. Mr. Pedro Fuster of Heavy Duty Brothers LLC has applied for a special use permit to allow for the construction of an approximately 3,500 square foot building with the potential future addition of no larger than 2,000 square feet to be used as a contractor's office at 4797 Fenton Mill Road. The property is approximately 2 acres in size, zoned A1 General Agricultural, designated rural lands on the 2045 Comprehensive Plan land use map, and located outside of the primary service area. In the A1 zoning district, contractors' warehouses, sheds, and offices require an SUP. Should this SUP be approved by the Board of Supervisors, any development on the site associated with this proposal would be required to be consistent with this master plan, SUP conditions, and zoning ordinance. As part of the applicant's proposal, the existing dilapidated shop on the site would be torn down and a new building is proposed to be built within its existing footprint. Proposed condition number 2 would require the new building to have a neutral color scheme and be generally consistent with the master plan and the building elevations as shown here and included in the agenda packet. As shown on the floor plan, the building is expected to consist of a shop area, a storage area, an office, and a bathroom. The applicant anticipates future growth of his business may lead to a future addition to the building of no more than 2,000 square feet for a possible showroom, additional office space, or additional storage. If you Based on information provided by the applicant, Heavy Duty Brothers is a licensed Class A contractor specializing in residential new construction, remodeling, concrete work, and light excavation with 3 to 5 full-time employees. The applicant has provided the following information regarding expected on-site operations related to the contractor's office. The hours of operation will be Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. No outdoor storage or operations are expected beyond 1 trash can or dumpster, materials deliveries that would occur roughly twice a week, and use of the parking area only for passenger vehicles, pickup trucks, and vans. Additionally, parking of these vehicles would be required to be located in designated parking spots as shown on an approved site plan. Proposed condition number 4 has been included to prohibit any additional outdoor storage or operations at the site. The applicant has indicated he expects to store a skid steer, a dump trailer, a scissor lift, a man lift, lumber, drywall, and other various construction materials inside the building. If the listed equipment is needed at a job site, the applicant has indicated it would stay at the job site until the job is completed and would not come back and forth each day. The applicant has stated that his employees typically spend their days at job sites, and he expects to be the only person frequently using this building. Occasional visits from subcontractors, inspectors, and material deliveries are expected. The office space will be used by the applicant for administrative tasks. Customers are not expected to visit the site. The building will continue to be used to be served by the existing driveway as shown on the master plan. The driveway will be required to be widened to 20 feet to conform to the fire department's commercial access standards. This driveway also serves the adjacent house located at 4803 Fenton Mill Road as seen on the master plan on the left side of the plan, and the 2 mobile homes on the subject property. As shown in the master plan, the applicant is proposing a new fence around the contractor's office building and parking area to mitigate visual impacts to the adjacent residential uses and separate the conflicting uses. Per proposed condition number 3, all fencing will be wooden and the side and rear fencing shall be between 6 and 8 feet in height. The applicant has indicated that he plans for the side and rear fencing to be privacy fencing, and the fencing along Fenton Mill Road would be a more visually appealing fencing like horse fencing or split rail fencing. The landscape section of the zoning ordinance would require transitional buffers between properties with conflicting land uses. These buffers are not shown on the master plan. Proposed condition number 3 requires a similar transition buffer for the 2 manufactured homes on the subject property as shown on the master plan. This type of buffer for conflicting uses on the same property is not provided for in the zoning ordinance, and its inclusion on the master plan allows its enforcement. The proposed conditions also limit the hours of operations to be between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and deliveries would be required to occur between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. While the proposal is not consistent with the primary recommended uses for rural lands, the proposal consists of very limited outdoor operations and storage, minimal anticipated traffic impacts, and landscaping and screening requirements set forth in the proposed conditions and the landscape ordinance. Staff finds the proposed scale of the business would be a very low intensity operation, which would not negatively impact the natural and rural character of the area. Additionally, the proposal is generally consistent with the recommendations found in the Rural Lands Development Standards for Use and Character Compatibility. Given the proposed conditions, master plan, and code requirements, staff finds the proposal compatible with surrounding zoning and development. Staff finds that this proposal is consistent with the zoning ordinance and generally consistent with the rural lands designation of the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of this application to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the proposed conditions. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant is also in attendance. Thank you.
Any questions of the applicant?
You sent us a letter from a next door neighbor this evening. And there was a couple of comments that you made that I wanted to make sure. I think the fencing piece in your description is pretty clear in the proffer, but you've alluded to the landscaping and the ordinance piece on that. And I can't find that in the conditions here. Can you show me where that is?
Yeah, which landscaping section specifically? Are we talking about the one shown on the master plan, or are we talking about landscaping?
Conditions so that where the landscaping is going to be, and what I'm trying to do is figure out between the fence and any landscaping, whether or not the buffering between that and the noise attenuation for the next door neighbor is taken into consideration. So I was looking for, you alluded to a condition about the landscaping buffering, and I couldn't find that in the proposed condition.
Understood. Bear with me just a moment. The condition that speaks to that is condition number 3, transitional buffer and fencing. It's quite a long condition, but in effect, it ensures that the transitional buffer shown there on the master plan is in place and does not speak to the other transitional buffers required by the zoning ordinance. I can speak to those separate from this condition. And where they'd be located. They'd be located very similarly to how that one is. They're shown on the master plan where they'd be on the outside of the fence. The fence could be brought in to pull it off of the driveway access a bit and make sure it's not encroaching too closely or anything like that. But I think that answers your question, but if I'm
Well,
mistaken.
3
please
really
correct me.
talks about the fencing, and I was looking for the landscaping and that portion of the buffering. And I think you've answered it, that when it gets to staff at site plan, you're going to try to assure that there's a buffering of plants along the fence. Is that correct?
Correct, on the outside, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, that landscaping, that would be along the fence, because I think that the owner of the house to the left was talking about a landscaping buffer along on the other side of the driveway from the fence. Or am I reading this wrong?
If you could go back to the master. So all landscaping is anticipated and proposed to be directly along the outside of the fence as shown here, bordering.
So that any traffic that goes into this contractor's office would, because there's some fencing on the house, the house to the left, there wouldn't be any screening for any traffic coming into the contractor's office. Is that correct?
We could certainly take a look at it during the site plan to see if there's enough space there. I have concerns as to whether or not there's enough space there for adequate screening, but if there is, that's something we definitely could enforce at the site plan stage.
That would be consistent with number 3 on the conditions?
It would be entirely separate from it. It would be consistent with the zoning ordinance.
And it said on the lighting on this, the picture shall not exceed 20 feet. Now, I know there's a question that the person in the house had asked about this sign in the front. Is it going to be lit? Or is this just like the ones down the street for the, what's it called, that farm? Golly, I forgot to write it down. That be a monument sign or?
No lighting on the sign. He said to me just now that there won't be lighting on the sign. The applicant indicated that.
The 20-foot light is around the contractor's office? Because it says.
So it says for all light poles and building mounted fixtures for that 20-foot requirement.
Right.
So that phrasing would not apply to lighting on a sign or inside of a sign. In the past, I'd be happy to share with you some conditions that we have applied if you're considering a condition that may achieve what we're looking for to ensure there's no lighting on or inside of
These
the
lights
sign.
on the outside would be, it says motion detected, so if I came in here at 8 o'clock at night, the lights would come on, but then they would go off. I was thinking about the spillover to the, because this is awful close to these houses.
So in terms of the motion detector, They could certainly opt for one that would be turned on as needed rather than motion detector. And at the same time, these are still proposed conditions that can be edited. We'd look to the Planning Commission for a motion including a reference to those edits, but there's some wiggle room on how we edit those.
I think your one proviso that the light shall not be routinely illuminated from dusk to until dawn really takes care of that, doesn't it?
Well, the reason I asked motion detector, I mean, if we had one at our house, be on and off all night with the deer going by.
That's why the fence is there. To prevent people from going in accidentally. I'm sorry.
I take your
just,
point.
you know.
We tried to do that at our house over in Powhatan Shores, and guess what the deer do? They jump over the fence. But anyway, I take your point.
So the business closes at 7.
Right. I mean, I think they've tried to mitigate the issue that I was concerned with what was in the letter for both the lighting and the buffering and for the noise on that. They made a good faith attempt to do that. And staff was looked out for it. Anyhow, sorry.
Any other questions of Mr. Elbiston? Seeing none?
I'm sorry, I do. Just because I'm looking up the contractor's office, but the staff report made a point of saying that the mobile homes are non-conforming. How is that relevant to?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm not overlooking something. I didn't see it as pertinent to me tonight.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. In terms of applying conditions from this SUP to those mobile homes, it is outside of the scope in terms of having an essential nexus, which essentially means the permit is not related to those mobile homes, so we couldn't tie in something related to those mobile homes. But in terms of their current status within the zoning ordinance right now, they fall under the non-conforming section of the zoning ordinance, which is essentially a grandfathered section, meaning as long as they don't change significantly or get removed, they can stay there. And there's a timing on the removal if it's removed for over a certain amount of time.
And I just had another question too, I'm sorry. The addition that is not actually going to be built right away, but we are going to approve that, right?
Yes.
So it can be built at some other time without coming back.
Correct,
Great,
yeah.
thanks.
It would, any addition that meets the square footage and general location there, I wouldn't want to speculate for sure, but would likely be approved and found consistent.
Great. Thank you very much. Any disclosures? We'll open the public hearing.
I did talk to the property owner who sent us this email.
Any other disclosures? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to address the commission? No need, okay, thank you. I have speakers cards. Elizabeth Boley. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Elizabeth Bowley, and I am the one to the left, as y'all were talking about up there. I live at 4803 Fenton Mill Road, which is adjacent to the parcel to the proposed contractor's office at 4797 Fenton Mill Road. I'd like to respectfully express my concerns regarding the request for a special use permit to build and operate a contractor's office next to my property. While I wish to maintain a civil and applicable relationship with my neighbors, and I do not want to create any conflict, but I would like my concerns to be considered during this review process. I am concerned about the potential increase of traffic and noise. With any contractor's office or building, you would think that that would be a concern. I worked for a contractor for 48 years as an office manager, so I have some idea of what to expect. The presence of additional vehicles, including large work trucks coming and going, could impact the quiet enjoyment of the surrounding properties, not just mine, but the other neighbors. Residents in this area purchased their homes with the understanding that the surrounding parcels were zoned agriculture and which offers a peaceful environment and a limited industrial and commercial activities around them. I have lived on my property for 45 years and have already witnessed a significant increase in noise coming from the interstate, which y'all cannot control, but there has been many trees that were removed that my father planted because the county told him he had to plant them because of the trailers that are there now. That was one of the conditions as a buffer, and a bunch of them got cut down. Anyway, many of the trees that I just said was a barrier to help diminish the peaceful environment for people to live comfortably. A business will continue to add traffic and operational noise no matter what you do, it's going to happen. Another important consideration is the effect this new business would have on the value of our properties. Many of us invested in our homes expecting the continuation of the agriculture zoning. It contributes to the appeal and value of our properties. A commercial contractor operation adjacent to us raises concerns about the marketability and desirability of our properties both now and in the future. Due to the close proximity of the business to me, if the special use permit was to be approved, I would like to at least request that, as y'all just talked about, a buffer zone and privacy fence to be installed, because I did not see it on those plans, as y'all did not see it. They would help maintain the privacy of my home and the noise level, better shielding my property from noise, visual disturbances, and activity associated with a business operation. I would ask that traffic be limited and to this business. I don't know if that's going to happen, and that large equipment at some discretion. I don't know if that will happen. Restrictions on the hours of operation. I would prefer 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, because I do live there, and the lighting that y'all talked about. My bedroom is at the end of the house where it could possibly, not to mention the other bedrooms that are further back, where the light, if there's a lot of light. I again would like to emphasize my attention is not to foster any ill with any of the new neighbors. I am simply asking for my concerns to be addressed, as well as those of other residents who share the area homes with me. I have lived there a long time. This property was my father's. I didn't want to sell. I had to sell, and that was because of my family. That has nothing to do with any of y'all's situation here, but I do feel that this could cause my property to be less valuable to sell later on. I'm 67 years old. I hope to live there. I've done a lot of things to my yard.
Your time has expired, but
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Please
you.
consider it.
we will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another speaker card, Felicia Manley.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Felicia Manley, and I live at 4807 Fenton Mill Road for 40-plus years. When we bought the home, Fenton Mill was much more, wasn't anything but oil and chat. It wasn't even paved. Now it's paved, and it's horrendous. We bought the home because we wanted to live in a rural area. We didn't want to live in Newport News, Hampton, or Williamsburg. We wanted to live in a rural area. And believe me, I thought I'd never have to get up and fight for what we thought we had constantly. Now, I agree with everything that Betty said. Number one, we retired. We don't get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to hear a bunch of junk 200 feet from my house going on at 7 o'clock in the morning, and never expected to. This is an area where up until this all came down, chickens and turkeys and ducks and kids roamed. Literally chickens, turkeys, and ducks. Now we're looking at a commercial building. And don't kid yourself, this is a commercial building. Now, we have not addressed the wells and septic tanks in this situation. We all live on wells there. We have to worry about runoff. We have to worry about something causing our wells to go bad. We have to worry about the water that's pumped from that area, and they will be washing equipment and repairing equipment in there daily. That means that there's more going into the ground from the septic tanks, and we'll have to be concerned about that, and our wells could be contaminated. I have a 50-foot well. It's not going to take much to contaminate it. Also, I don't understand. I was told tonight I was to tell facts, not feelings. Well, it's hard not to show feelings when it's your home, your family, and what you have worked all of your life to have. But facts are facts. And the fact is, this is a commercial building that's wanting to be put on an agricultural area. I was under the impression that you had to have 3 acres to build anything in that area anyway. He is not building on 3 acres. There may be 3 acres combined, but there's already 3 residences in that 3 acres, which would make him another one. Now, I know they'll store diesel gas and oil there, and that's another thing I have to worry about with my well. If you just want facts, the facts are it is not zoned for a commercial building of any kind. And I see no reason for it to be approved. I'm not even sure how it got before this commission. It wouldn't have had we been sitting in King's Mills or Governor's Land. This goes completely and totally against the zoning ordinance. Please do not allow this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are the only 2 speaker cards I have. Would anybody else like to address the commission on this subject? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Open it for discussion or a motion.
I guess I'm throwing a wrinkle because I don't, well, if anyone up here can answer it, that would be great. But when I read the staff description, it talks about a dilapidated shop building. Does staff know what was operating or not operating in the existing structure that's going to be removed? Shop, which to me sounds...
Yeah, I use the term shop as it said that on the most recent plat for the site as a metal shop. We're not aware of a current use. There's not an approved site plan there. We have not, our zoning officers haven't gone out to inspect and determine a use or anything like that. At this time, vacant might best describe it, but undetermined could be good as well.
Questions?
Just for clarification for the staff, the land is in A1. Does the useless for the this area prohibit the contractor's office?
It is a specially permitted use requiring these 2 public hearings.
But it is permitted with a special use?
Sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, is storage of petroleum and petroleum products permitted on this site?
It is, at this time, it is allowable indoors. It would not be permitted outdoors per the proposed conditions.
Other questions? Everson, you had?
Question, I was going to speak to the application. Is that appropriate now? I was on the commission 30 years ago, and one of the things that I always took into consideration is uses that are neighborly, if you will.
Or what?
Neighborly.
Oh, neighborly.
I look at this and I see that in the future plans are to have a showroom there, 2,000, possibly, 2,000 square feet for client meetings and material displays. I gotta tell you, I think that's a little bit too intensive for what surrounds it. You've got these 3 residential units on our map here to the left. To the right, you have there's a house there of some sort. I just think that this is not an appropriate use at this site, particularly with the future plans calling for showrooms. Right now, you look at this and you say, okay, it's 2 or 3, 4, maybe 5 vehicles a day. That's not a problem. But if the business is successful, that will become a problem for these people who live there. And I don't think it's compatible with the way it's set up right now. And I don't think it'll ever be compatible if they start doing their future plans there. And since when we approve this, it would be potentially approving another 2,000 square feet to have these additional equipment there. But the showroom is what got my goat, because that means is you're gonna have customers coming in there to look at whatever they look at in the showroom. And I'm not gonna support this. When I went out and looked at it, I was like, whoa. In fact, I went out there twice after I got the letter, to email. I went out there again to take a look. And I said to myself, no, I'm sorry, this doesn't fit.
Thank you. Any other discussion, questions, or a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to, where is it? To deny SUP 25-0007, 4797 Fenton Mill Road, Contractor's Office.
Right. Ms. Stennis, would you please call the vote? And a yes vote will be to recommend denial. A no vote will be to recommend approval.
Mr. Polster?
No.
Mr. Rogers?
No.
Mr. Everson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
No.
Dr. Haskins?
No.
Mr. Haldeman?
No.
Motion to deny carries.
I'd make a motion that.
Motion to carry.
I'm sorry.
Motion to deny.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't
I
carry.
apologize.
Mr.
And
Chairman.
you just explained how it would be backwards.
It was denied.
Motion to deny
The motion
is
was denied.
Is denied.
Yeah,
Yes,
Right,
thank you.
right.
Sorry.
I know that.
I'll make a motion that the Planning Commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors the approval of SUP 25-007 Master Plat at 4797 Fenton Mill Road with conditions.
Ms. Stennis, please call the roll.
Mr. Polster.
Aye.
Mr. Rogers.
Aye.
Mr. Everson. Mr. May.
Aye.
Dr. Haskins.
Aye.
Mr. Haldeman.
Aye.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. We'll move to the next public hearing, SUP 25-0015, 4900 Stadium Road, General Services Headquarters, Ms. Probst. And there were 2 questions, one to recommend approval for the special use permit, and the other to determine that the application is consistent with the comprehensive plan. So there'll be 2 votes. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. Andrew McKinley of Via Design has applied for a special use permit on behalf of James City County for the development of an approximately 60,500 square foot general services headquarters. A special use permit is required in any zoning district for a governmental institution or office building exceeding 30,000 square feet of floor area. The general services headquarters will provide office space, a large meeting room, workshop space, and equipment storage for general services administration, capital projects, environmental sustainability, facilities, grounds, and solid waste divisions. The complex will be located primarily on 4900 Stadium Road, with clearing and grading occurring partially on 4620 Opportunity Way. The property is zoned public lands and is in future land use federal, state, or county land. The site will be accessed from Stadium Road via 2 entrances, one in line with the War Hill High School entrance and one on the Virginia Dominion power easement in line with Opportunity Way. General Services employees have a staggered schedule, which should decrease traffic conflicts with the high school. However, a turn lane evaluation is required by Condition 4 prior to site plan approval. The traffic analysis evaluated the intersections with War Hill Trail and Long Hill Road to the south, Centerville Road and Opportunity Way to the north, Centerville Road and Route 60, as well as east and westbound ramps from Route 60 onto 199. The intersection at Long Hill Road and War Hill Trail is currently unsignalized, but improvements including a traffic signal, lengthening the southbound right turn lane to accommodate queuing traffic, and sidewalk and crosswalk additions leading to improved bus stops will result in an overall level of service B for the intersection. No other traffic improvements are recommended or proposed. Condition 2 requires that the building comply with the county's sustainable building policy by being designed to meet LEED Silver requirements and energy efficiency criteria. The final architectural design will be approved by the Director of Planning per the county's character design guidelines. The War Hill Sports Complex has a stormwater master plan, and General Services stormwater quantity will be managed through connections to the larger system. Water quality for the proposed development will be managed through on-site BMPs. At the site plan review phase, the stormwater plan will be required to meet all county stormwater management requirements. Conditions 8, 9, and 10 are proposed to ensure that appropriate measures are met which are not specifically required by the current code. Staff finds this proposal to be compatible with the surrounding development and consistent with the comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of this application to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the proposed conditions. Staff also recommends that in accordance with the Virginia Code, the Planning Commission find that proposed development location, character, and extent are in compliance with the comprehensive plan. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also here.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Ms. Probst? Thank you very much. Any disclosures by the commission? Thank you. We'll open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to make a presentation? Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I'm Sean Gordon with James City County and General Services, and I'm the project manager for the General Services headquarters building. We're happy to be here this evening to discuss this project, as it'll bring majority of the divisions under one roof for the very first time. For those that don't know, we work on Tuning Road. We work out of multiple buildings, and those buildings have been renovated multiple times. They've exceeded their life expectancy and staffing capacity, so we're eager to actually have space that we can use. We've actually taken offices and split them in half to actually make room for accommodating new employees. The county growth has led to, back then, the county growth led us to procuring the services of mostly architects so that we could do a space needs assessment. That was performed in 2020, and in 2024 we did an update specific to the General Services headquarters building, in that to look for staff space and work support space for that. We assessed the current conditions 5, 10, and 20 years out projected, so we hit a 2043 mark, which is what we're trying to design to today. That assessment results prompted us to do a CIP budget request. So in FY23, the board approved funding for design of the General Services headquarters building, following by FY24 initial construction funds for the General Services headquarters building. Being located on the War Hill track has allowed us to look at overall operations from where we are today and ways to better serve the county and staff. For example, the new headquarters building will include a grounds bay, which will be large enough to store more county equipment than what we have today. Everything is outside, which will be beneficial for our storm events, as we are considered essential personnel. There will be facilities bays, workshops, storage areas for departmental outreach programs, and equipment, break areas to promote collaboration and team cohesion. Most importantly, we're looking forward to actually having a training room large enough for all of General Services staff, which will include our custodial, fleet, and stormwater and resource protection together as a department for training opportunities and recognition events. Right now, when we have events, we actually have standing room only in spots on the outside walls of these rooms that we look at. And on the site, we're also going to have a fuel island and wash bays, which will be able to be utilized by all county staff. Project goals will include a LEED Silver certification, so sustainability, energy efficient materials and systems will be incorporated. We're also looking into a renewable energy option through a Dominion Energy solar panel program, which would actually put solar panels on the roof, and that we could use for the building itself. If there's any excess, it would actually be sold back to Dominion Power. And also, based on recent conversations we've had over the past few days with staff, is comfortable if the PC recommends a special stormwater criteria condition for the additional 25% additional rain volume for that. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. With me tonight is also Andrew McKinley and Lauren Schwartz with Via Design Group and Dan Ruby with Timmons Group. Andrew and Lauren are the architects, and Dan Ruby is the site civil engineer.
Thank you very much for your time. Any questions, Mr. Rogers?
It's a pretty big building. It looks,
yes, sir.
Looks pretty terrific to me. I think I know the answer to this, but can you at least tell me if there was ever any discussion or consideration for co-locating it with the proposed James City County Government Center? It's like a lot of the things with the other big building that's coming is this idea of having everybody at the same address as the county. So this
General Services Department is a little unique, such that we have workshops, ground bays, we're doing mowers, we're sharpening blades, you know, fine tuning equipment. You know, you'll see in the picture we have a lot of bays for, you know, for washing. There'll be fuel islands. We make a lot of noise, so it's probably not as conducive to be, you know, co-located there on the government center. We have laydown area, a lot of trucks, trailers, so we need a site with movement that we can bring larger equipment in, and longer trailers for our mowers and enclosed trailers that we have as well.
I had a couple comments that I wanted to make sure that I understood. I heard what you said about putting the solar panels on there, and I'm just thrilled about that because we're doing it for the same thing for the government building, and I know that Grace Boone has been working on this thing for years and years. Is it also true that you're going to have electrical charging units on site too?
For vehicles?
Right.
We would.
Okay.
We also, some of our equipment itself has, you know, is electric powered, so our regular stuff will have charging stations internal.
For the benefit of the staff and for the public that's listening in, you mentioned the point that you would be receptive to an additional condition on the stormwater piece, if I understood it correctly. And so what's been going on with our conversations back and forth was, it was unclear to me how we were really doing the treating of the stormwater, since it is in the Powhatan district. It has 7 acres of disturbance, what requires 3 special stormwater criteria for it. What was unclear was how they were going to really handle it, because in fact they're putting an underground BMP on the site, and what's happening is everything from the bioretentions that they've put on the site, as well as off all the roofs and the parking lots, drains into there. And then from there, it goes down to PC 105, which is what, almost half mile away?
Western Pond.
Yeah, for it. And there's actually a conduit that services that War Hill area that then drains into it. So the issue wasn't so much the capacity of that BMP, it was really the treatment in the underground facility for it. And so we went back and forth and to try to get very specific about that. And when you compute the stormwater design of one of these facilities on there, the Virginia runoff manual standards for this uses precipitation. And so one of the things that has concerned me is that the Atlas 14, which is used, has been out of date. and won't be till probably another year. So the rainfall that's being accumulated and accounted for in those formulas doesn't size the facility to the correct size for it. So you end up building something that isn't going to function correctly with the increased precipitation. To meet that need, the county and the Board of Supervisors in March approved a new set of standards to be able to accommodate that. And so what we were trying to decide is with the 3 points that they have, which ones would be appropriate. And so I was going to suggest that we do SSC 12 and 13, but I really want to leave that up to the staff to find out which is the best one of those SSCs, as well as I also thought about the outfall area that they may need. But I'd like to see a condition in there that says that the staff, the planning staff, and the general services will figure out a way on how to commit to reducing the water treatment by 25%, which is what we use for the Powhatan watershed plan. We use that figure. And I'll leave the details then to the staff between which of those SSCs they'll decide, unless the staff or you all have some ideas of which ones that you'd like.
I think at this point, we're so early in the design that we still need to do like geotech borings and
So
everything. to see
what I'm
where
looking
our
for in this
site
condition is a
conditions are.
commitment to meet that 25% increase in rainfall, which is what we had in our Powhatan watershed plan, as well as what we have in the SSC. So whether it's 11, 12, 12 was the one that I was thinking, but either 11, 12, or 13 of those, so that we're going to reduce that amount. If that's acceptable to the applicant, I'd like to put that as an addition to the conclusion, to the condition.
That's fine with you. Great.
Okay? That was all I had for questions. Thank you.
Any other questions of the any disclosures? We'll open, thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing. And the applicant's already had a presentation. Speaker card, I have one. Mr. Heckleby, welcome back.
Hello. Well, thank you for having me up here again. I just wanted to speak on the potential general services headquarters and the fact that it would be nice to have, much like the government center, a website or a web page with all the studies and everything. It may exist, I may not have seen it, but that would be something nice to see, just to determine how necessary it is versus the cost of other options. And that's pretty much all I had to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Would anybody else like to address the commission on this subject? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Open it to discussion or a motion.
I just wanted to make the comment is I started working with this stormwater piece a number of years ago, God, almost 10 years ago. And we used to meet down on Tewing Road. And the first time I went down there, I was just absolutely amazed because it was a World War II Quonset hut. And if you've ever seen one of these things, it's a metal shed on that, and the way they've chopped up and used it. So when the CIP project came for the general services, I was determined from there on to get Grace Boone out of that Quonset hut, as well as her staff into some quarters that would actually be able to function for the things that they do. The warm-up rooms, the leads piece, and to be able to use the solar power type thing for the future. So I really applaud the effort that you've gone through, Grace, for the last 5 years to do this, and I'm really looking forward to being invited to the ribbon cutting for your facility at some point.
Thank you. You have 2 resolutions in your reading material. One ends with, now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Commission of James City County, Virginia, for the reasons expressed in the written minutes which shall be transmitted to the Board of Supervisors, finds that the general or approximate location, character, and extent of the public buildings applied for in case number SUP 25-0015 are substantially in accord with the comprehensive plan and applicable parts thereof, and the other resolution says are not substantially in accord with the comprehensive plan and applicable parts thereof. May I have a motion for one of those two resolutions, please?
I'll make the motion that the SUP 250015-4900 Stadium Road General is consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Ms. Istenis, please call the vote.
Mr. Polster?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Everson?
Aye.
Mr. May?
Aye.
Dr. Haskins?
Aye.
Mr. Haldeman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And may I please have a motion on the SUP?
I would like to make the motion that the Planning Commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors the approval of SUP 250015-4900 Stadium Road General Services Building.
Thank you. Ms. McGinnis, please call the vote.
Did that include the change?
Oh,
you
I'm sorry,
wanted?
with the change, with the conditions and the change that the applicant agreed to.
Good catch.
Thank you.
Mr. Polster?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Everson?
Aye.
Mr. May?
Aye.
Dr. Haskins?
Aye.
Mr. Haldeman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next public hearing, rezoning 23-0008 Cardinal Ridge Eastern State rezoning from public lands to mixed use. Ms. Costello, good evening. You've been very patient.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Mr. Tim Trant of Kaufman and Knowles has applied on behalf of D.R. Horton Incorporated to rezone approximately 365.6 acres of property located at 4601 Ironbound Road. The property is currently zoned PL Public Lands inside the primary service area and is designated as federal, state, or county land on the 2045 Comprehensive Plan Land Use Map. This application requests to rezone the property from PL to MU mixed use. The proposed development includes a maximum of 1,006 residential dwellings, of which 309 will be single-family detached units, 247 will be single-family attached units, and 450 apartments. This corresponds to a proposed residential density of 4.3 units per developable acre. 20% of the units, or 202, will be made affordable for those making up to 80% of the area median income. This proposal also includes a maximum of 162,000 square feet of commercial use and approximately 40.6 acres for public use. The proposed recreational amenities include 2 swimming pools with clubhouses, approximately 12.9 acres of passive area including a multi-use field, 3 sports courts, 2 playgrounds, 10,000 linear feet of trails, and 7,500 linear feet of internal bike lanes. The proposed residential density requires 4 density bonus points for the development. To meet the required density bonus points, the applicant has committed to the following: the dedication of approximately 40.6 acres for public use, preserving 10 acres of mature forestland, preserving 100-foot buffers from the edge of the RPA buffers, providing pedestrian accommodations on both sides of the internal roadways, and developed binding design guidelines. These 5 items equate to 4.5 density bonus points. The property is located in the Powhatan Creek watershed and was reviewed for consistency with the watershed master plan. A contribution is proffered per unit to contribute to a stream restoration project in the area. The application also ensures the submission of a master stormwater plan, and all stormwater management facility outfalls have outlet protection designed for 100-year storm events and compliance with the most updated version of the county's special stormwater criteria. Overall, staff finds that the application is consistent with the Powhatan Creek Watershed Master Plan. During the 2045 Comprehensive Plan Update process, a land use application LU-20-0003 was submitted requesting to change the land use designation for this portion of the property from federal, state, or county land to the mixed use Eastern State designation, as At its June 24th, 2021 meeting, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the 2045 Comprehensive Plan, which included this land use application. Following consideration by the Board of Supervisors, the land use application was deferred to be reviewed concurrently with the rezoning application, and guidance was received to change the proposed land use to the eastern state. Staff finds that the application is consistent with the proposed draft language for the mixed-use eastern state designation. Staff finds that the application is not consistent with the Board of Supervisors' adopted policy, multiple use districts, and mixed-use construction phasing policy. Staff finds the following factors favorable for the application. The proposal is consistent with the zoning ordinance and adopted policies. The proposal is consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan draft mixed-use eastern state designation and workforce and affordable housing recommendations. The development is expected to have a positive cumulative fiscal impact. The proposal passes the adequate public schools facilities test. The proposal passes the adequate transportation facilities test. The proposal satisfied the requirement for 4 density bonus points. Parks and Recreation Department staff found the proposed amenities consistent with the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Staff recommends the Planning Commission recommend approval of the proposed rezoning application to the Board of Supervisors subject to the proposed proffers. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant team is also available. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, discussion? Mr. Rogers.
Thank you. I have two. One is, I'm very interested in the whole description of the affordable housing piece. I understand when it seems to have a lot of ors in it. So when it says 20% of the residences, does that mean it might be all apartments?
They've committed to 82 apartments. The rest of it is undetermined at that point. But the comprehensive plan just says 20%. It doesn't, I mean, we want to mix, but the remainder of the 202 hasn't been determined yet.
Right. I'm just interested in the chance at home ownership, I guess, as opposed to just areas that I grew up near. The other thing was, even though it's in here and it's right in front of me, this piece, and I'm looking at page 2 of the staff report, where, and you just sort of read it out loud, where it says the proposal is not consistent with the Board of Supervisors' multiple use districts, mixed use construction phasing policy. And it even tells me, read page 14, which I did. I still don't, I don't get it. Can you plain language that?
There's a certain percentage of residential units that can be built before any commercial. So I can read the criteria for the policy. Building permits for up to 10% of the residential units may be issued prior to commencing any commercial construction. COs must be issued for at least 25% of the commercial square footage as shown on the master plan prior to building permits being issued for any residential unit above 50% of the total proposed unit as shown on the master plan. Prior to issuance of building permits for the final 20%, COs must be issued for at least 80% of the commercial square footage. So we just want not all the residents to be built before the commercial. You want the phasing.
I understand the equation. Can you tell me how this proposal is not consistent with that?
There's no guarantee that it'll be built to those percentages. So they're proposing to give the county the commercial portion of the development, and then the county would be responsible for either developing it or selling it to a developer to develop. But nothing is proffered that says that all those conditions would happen, that it would be phased in. It could be phased in, but there's no guarantee that it would be phased in that way.
I just ask a clarifying question. Not consistent with the Board of Supervisors policy. That policy is guidance, but that's not, is that that's not an automatic disqualifier, it's a consideration, right?
Correct. Policy.
Mm-hmm.
Aspirational advice.
Mentioned that it's consistent with the draft mixed-use Eastern State part of the comprehensive plan, but it's not in the comprehensive plan, it's just a draft, right?
Just a draft. Yes.
Oh, that's, I'm sorry, I got that answer otherwise. Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you. Any disclosures?
I had a conversation with Mr. Trent.
As did I, a conversation and email exchange. Mr. Everson?
I talked to Mr. Trent and I talked to Ms. Costello and Will, Mr. Will. And I guess Mike from Stormwater.
I also spoke briefly with Mr. Trent.
I was supposed to go. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing. Mr. Trent, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Tim Trant, attorney with Kaufman and Knoll's offices at 4801 Courthouse Street here in James City County. It's my privilege to be here tonight on behalf of the applicant. I'll briefly introduce you to our applicant team. Of course, as many of you know, the owner of the property is the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's long been developed as the Eastern State Hospital. They made the decision to dispose of some of the unutilized but presently developed property. The contract purchaser and proposed developer and home builder is D.R. Horton. And with me tonight on behalf of D.R. Horton is Kyle Schnaufer, Brian Rowe, and Bob Evans. We also have the Timmons Group as our engineering team, and I believe they're on my left, Mark Richardson and Scott Dunn. And last but certainly not least is our land planning design team, which is comprised of Melissa Venable and her team at Land Planning Solutions. And then, of course, Ted Figura helped us with some of our fiscal analytics, but is not here tonight. I'll skip. Oh, it's very sensitive. All right. I think everybody's familiar with where the property is located, but I just use this slide in case we need to come back to it to answer questions. Again, same with the conceptual plan. I know you all are quite familiar with it. Just here to answer, use as a visual aid to answer questions. Let me first say a big thank you to staff. Terry, Ms. Istenis, Mr. Holt, and many others I know really spent a lot of time over many years working with us to refine the project for the better, both for the applicant and for the community, and really been great stewards of the county's interests, but very helpful and constructive in working with us. And so thank you for the many headaches and heartaches that I know they have endured over the course of the application process, and particularly in preparation for this hearing and the push to get it all nailed down. I will endeavor not to be redundant of what Ms. Costello has ably communicated to you, and just highlight some of the things that the applicant feels particularly passionate about. So of the 365-acre site, only about 191 acres of that site are proposed for redevelopment. So a little less than half of the property will remain undisturbed or in manicured or constructed open space, park and manicured areas. The proceeds from the sale of the property, the purchase from the Commonwealth, go to, if you are interested, to the Department of Behavioral Health. Not to the general coffers of the state to be spent wherever they might like, but to further the mission of the Department of Behavioral Health. That was a part of I believe, the budget amendment that authorized the sale. It includes the donation of a 40-acre public use site to the county, a donation of a 33-acre commercial site we call the Marketplace District to the county, 20% of the homes, over 200 residents, will meet the county's affordable housing criteria. And if we have time before I get the red light, Mr. Rogers, I'll address your question on the mix and where those units appear in the project. And then last but not least, I think different from many mixed-use projects that I've been involved with, which are good and well-intended, this is a truly diverse mix of uses that I think will ensure a very vibrant and sustainable sense of place over time. And as they're represented in these bullets here, but a very meaningful public use site, a meaningful commercial center, Colonial Behavioral Health Center for treatment and offices, a Hope Family Village facility. And for those of you who don't know, I think some of the representatives are here and you may hear from them, but it's a nonprofit devoted to providing a very unique and specifically designed form of communal housing to families that have members of their family suffering from mental health and behavioral health issues. It will include, of course, the more traditional mix of homes, apartments, townhomes, single-family detached homes, and extensive amenities, which Ms. Costello highlighted, but almost 2 miles of walking trails, a competition swimming pool, multiple clubhouses, and lots of pocket parks and other amenities. So, just to orient you to the land plan here, yes, maybe my cursor shows up. Briefly, where those uses are located, and I'm go over this quickly because you all may know this well, but Colonial Behavioral Health in dark blue, light blue would be the Hope Family Village site. In orange here is the multifamily or apartment area of the site where they're projected to be located. In yellow are the townhomes. In green are the single-family detached homes. The gray area is the portion west of 199 that is proposed to remain in undisturbed open space. The purple is the public use site, and last but not least, the red is the commercial district, the marketplace district. Speak briefly to the donation of the commercial site and the mixed-use phasing policy. The county's mixed-use phasing policy is very well intended, but with any policy, it can be hard to implement in the way it's intended, to achieve the results that are intended. It's hard to achieve those desired, those optimal commercial tenants on a fixed schedule, which can be out of sync with market dynamics. So what often happens, and I know many of you all have seen this happen recently, the reality of that often results in, down the road, requests to amend the proffers, right? To amend those timing triggers, to amend the type of commercial that is being asked, required to convert some of it to residential. That is often what happens. Or you get a less desirable sort of bare minimum commercial, just sufficient to meet the requirements of the policy so that the residential building can move forward. Or worst of all, stalled projects, which are not good for anybody and create financial distress. So that is often what the result of strict adherence to the policy achieves. What Horton did, in I think a very enterprising and sincere way, was to say, look, we don't want to be in any one of those three categories. We're home builders. We know home building. We feel very good about our ability to build this project out very successfully. But the purpose and intent of the county's policy, mixed-use phasing policy, is to achieve fiscal balance. It's not just to have commercial and residential tracked together. It's to achieve a fiscal balance. Commercial is generally positive. Residential is often thought to be a fiscal drag. So to have the revenues from the commercial coming online in pace with the additional and incremental demand from services from the residential portions of the project. With the donation to the county of the commercial site, we achieve a better economic result for the county, consistent with that policy, or the policy behind the policy, I should say, that than if we strictly adhere to it. So and by that, and to explain how that would happen, is we're valuing the property, I think, conservatively in excess of $7 million. To donate the value of that property, to donate the property to the county, which it could turn around and presumably would market and sell to a commercial developer, it does, first and foremost, it gives the county that revenue as an immediate and early cash infusion very early in the project that it wouldn't otherwise get. If we developed it ourselves, it would happen slowly over time, and the only revenue that the county would receive from that commercial property is the tax revenue, which is not insubstantial, but it would trickle in over time and ultimately cap out. By donating the land, we infuse over $7 million in revenue to the county from the commercial site, and we do it right up front. Get it right up front. So it accelerates the receipt of revenue from the project, and it substantially increases it over its strict adherence to the policy. So we believe while we don't meet the letter of the policy, we meet the spirit and intent of the policy is our humble position. One of the things that Horton emphasized early on with the project team was the importance of placemaking with this project, and we were directed to design the project to achieve a very high quality aesthetic. One of the reasons and the stated reasons why Horton is interested in this project and pursued it very aggressively was that James City County is a very well planned and attractive place. It's a great market for what they do, and they want to be a part of that, they want to contribute to it, and they want to complement that. And so they understand that that's the price of admission, and we have attempted to do that through our design guidelines, our commitments to high quality architecture and land planning, and last but not least, through our amenities. A big part of placemaking is the recreational areas, the open space, and the amenities. And as I've already been through them, as I know Ms. Costello, they are extensive and they are spread throughout the community and contribute to that sense of place. I'll skip through these. These are all in your design guidelines in your packet, but just highlighting some of the character and the level of quality that is proposed through to be binding on the project through the design guidelines. We speak briefly to traffic, as I know that is often a concern with large projects. One thing that is particularly unique and I think beneficial to this project from a traffic perspective is it has three entrances, multiple entrances, three to be specific, and that is quite unique. It allows for multiple ingress and egress points to disperse the flow of traffic, both in and out. And so it's not a single entrance project. It's not even a double entrance project. It's got 3 points of ingress and egress, which allow for that traffic to be spread out over those 3 entrances. It's also an infill property. We don't see these very often anymore. We're often moving out, and further places in the county. But this is an infill property in very close proximity to centers of employment, recreation, and retail. And the land planning attributable where credit is due to Ms. Venable and her work with the plan was really focused on the pedestrian and bicycle connectivity in an effort to hopefully down the road as the project builds out to reduce the demand on external vehicle trips. Last but not least, the improvements that are projected by the traffic study and committed to in our proffers are determined to maintain an overall level of Service C following build-out. Environmental considerations, and looks like my time is expiring. So, as it has been noted, the site presently suffers from pretty significant environmental degradation, stream channel degradation in particular, erosion from unchecked and unattenuated runoff from the developed areas of the site for many, many years. Our proposed redevelopment of the site, I should say, with modern stormwater management techniques and the proffered enhancements to our stormwater management planning and program will resolve, first and foremost, the existing source of environmental degradation or of erosion and sedimentation. Capturing, treating, retaining, and slowly over time releasing stormwater isn't, which we're all accustomed to and feel, sort of second nature to us at this point, isn't happening out there on the site, as anybody who's visited would know, and some of the head cuts and whatnot that exist in that stream channel. So just by redeveloping the site with modern stormwater, we will allow the stream channel degradation to recover. But on top of that, there are areas that are so degraded that they would not likely recover naturally. We have proffered approximately $1.25 million towards a fund that the county can use to restore those areas that would not recover on their own. And then close briefly with what we believe are the benefits of the project, which merit the approval that is being requested. First, consistent with the county's comprehensive plan, or I guess to speak to some of Mr. Haldeman's questioning, the spirit and intent, the vision that was reflected in the comp plan and the subsequent guidance that was promulgated around what should happen here. Different than a lot of projects, it doesn't just meet the criteria, it exceeds in most instances, in most cases, the requirements, the county's primary planning policies. We exceed them by substantial margins, as the staff report indicates. For example, the Parks and Rec guidelines and the adequate public facilities test. We have extra density bonuses beyond what is required. The project is overwhelmingly fiscally positive, as evidenced by the county's own fiscal impact model. Provides for timely resolution of the existing and ongoing environmental concerns with the project or the property, and provides some material public benefits through the donations of land to the county, to Hope Family Village, and through our affordable housing commitment. And then last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, I think it provides uniquely a truly diverse and vibrant mix of uses that will contribute to and reflect that very special placemaking that is characteristic of the county. And with that, I'll conclude my remarks and answer any questions that you have.
Could hold that, please, for a second. I'm going to call a brief recess, just 5 minutes or so, and we'll come back for questions. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
get started again. Thank you for your patience.
I'm gonna chew the gum. I'm gonna have to chew the gum. I'm so hungry.
Questions, yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So, do any commissioners have questions of the applicant? Mr. Polster?
I just had a quick clarification. I wanted to make sure that I understood it. In your TIA on your table 5.1, your trip generation summary, you have a figure in there for public use for middle school. And I don't remember seeing a middle school on your master plan.
Understood. Well, to the extent Scott thinks I'm getting this wrong, he'll tap me on the shoulder and correct me. But I think this is a softball, Scott. I think, yes. So on the conceptual plan, which I believe I have, is the very next slide. Voila! I anticipated your question, Mr. Foster. I just lost it. The purple area is where the public use site. That's the proffered public use site. And we don't know, and we're not restricting in any material way what the county can do with that property, but we had to program some sort of traffic impact associated with it. And it was discussed, right or wrong, that probably the highest impact traffic condition that would occur on the site would be a school, and a middle school in particular. Whether that is ultimately the use the county decides to put to it or not will be up to the county. We're not dictating that it be a school site, but that was that we have built our traffic model based on that level of intensity of traffic.
So the follow-on question is did I see that in the proffer that the public land is then sent to the county?
Public use site is, yes, proffered to be donated to the county after we receive it.
But it is in the proffer?
It is in the proffers.
Okay,
yes.
that's what I wanted to
Sorry,
know.
we have proffered that there's I thought you were queuing on a condition
No,
which staff
no.
asked about. So there is a condition in the proffer that we can't give it to you until we get it. So the state owns it, and after if God willing, we would be able to be successful in our zoning, we go through an engineering process and a closing process, and then we just made clear in the proffer that as soon as it transfers to private hands, whenever the county administrator asks for it, we are obligated to convey it to the county.
And so just to follow on with the commercial piece, is you're giving that land to the county?
Same scenario, yes, sir.
Okay, so in your proffer, though, for Commercial Property Owners Association, you're governing what the county is going to do with that?
Good question. So, I'm not going to throw the staff under the bus here. No, I'm teasing. But we initially did not have a commercial association component to the proffer. For that reason, we wanted, and we felt it was appropriate to place some controls on the commercial land. I think the public wants to make sure they understand what the commercial is going to look like within some parameters. Yes, we are binding in some respects the development of the commercial property within the parameters of the master plan and the guidelines. It was suggested that it was appropriate to include a commercial association requirement in the event that it was developed privately. So the county will receive it, we expect, but they will very likely turn around and sell it. They will market the property to a commercial developer, and I haven't had any communications with county representatives about exactly how they would do this. So these are all my suppositions. Nobody's told me this is what will happen, but having seen similar situations, the locality is likely to receive the property, probably in the name of the EDA, and then proceed to market it and control, the sale of that property through a development agreement or a purchase and sale agreement. And once that property transfers to a private owner, it would, I think the county would want and expect, and that was the source of the comment and why that's in the proffers now, that a commercial association exists for maintenance of the common elements of the commercial area. So, sorry, long-winded answer.
Oh, no, I got number 10. I saw that now. I didn't see it before, though. I guess my last question has to do with the homeowners association that you have in here. And not saying that you have to do this, but when we did the Newtown and we looked at the Westwood Park, there was a different fee associated with the folks in the affordable housing versus the rest of that. Is there something like that that I've missed?
No, that is not, there is no commitment in the proffers that our affordable units will receive a different assessment than our market rate units.
That's fine. I just wanted to
I don't know
clarify.
that we're opposed to that. It's just not in there to
Yeah,
answer
that's
your
fine.
question.
That was all I had.
I don't have a question. I do have a couple of comments.
Our way.
Thank you for the presentation. Sorry I did not call you back. But I think what stands out to me is the meaningful diversity that's being offered, the diversity of usage that's being offered. I used to run cross country, and we ran all over Eastern State. But I never really thought that we were supposed to be there. So to see you all developing the property with the affordable housing, with the behavioral health piece, and maybe a 17-year-old running cross country will actually be there and possibly live there is pretty cool to me. So thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the well thought out and sounds like
Mr. Evers?
On your fiscal analysis on page 7, you have the net proceeds from the land sale of $7,666,500. I assume that's the money that the James City County would get by selling the commercial property?
Yes, sir. That is our estimate of that, of the revenue that would accrue to the county from that sale. Yes, sir.
one more comment. I also know that a board of supervisors policy is not an automatic disqualifier. I understand that. But I also believe that we try to keep consistency a priority, but it has to make sense. So I just wanted to offer that as well. Like, it has to make sense, and this makes sense to me.
You didn't mention this in your presentation about the Community Development Authority, which is a taxing authority. Could you speak on that, please?
Sure. It really affects, in my humble opinion, very little to do with the land planning. It's a financing vehicle for some of the off-site improvements, some of the infrastructure that's required, and just to explain why what that means and why that's important to us. This project does have 3 entrances, as I mentioned, which is good from a traffic dispersion standpoint, but it also means that there's a lot of expenses associated with the improvement of those intersections. 3 different intersections that we're committed to doing work in: the improvement of Galt Lane, that is currently not, up to standard, that whole section that's off-site, the traffic circles, the expansion of those, and additional laning of the portions of Depew. They're very expensive, is just to be blunt, and more expensive and a larger percentage of the development budget than traffic improvements normally represent in projects like this. And so it is helpful for us to be able to finance those through bond financing, which the CDA makes available a CDA would make available to the applicant that we otherwise wouldn't get. And but to put hopefully your minds at ease, it doesn't involve any impact to the county's credit. The county is obviously the authority that can authorize that through the Board of Supervisors, the creation of one, but it doesn't require any guarantee of county resources or impact to the county's credit. And the bonds, that financing is repaid through incremental assessments, additional like dues, like HOA type dues, assessments that are associated with the specific property that's benefited, the property we're proposing to develop.
And to be over 29 and a half years to 30 years.
Yes, sir, approximately 30 years,
And
yes, sir.
it's escalating. Does that also, again, the workforce housing units, they would still be expected to pay this additional tax, is that correct?
Good question. So the answer is, this is not, binding in our proffers in any way, so I don't want to misrepresent what is and, what is absolutely certain and what is not. It could be, but the way, just so you know, the way we have modeled the Community Development Authority, if it were to be approved by the board, is that the apartments and the commercial would not be subject to this incremental assessment. It would just be the single-family homes, attached and detached. So townhomes and single-family detached homes would be the only properties subject to the incremental tax. That's correct. Okay. So it wouldn't apply to any of the apartments. In particular, it would not apply to the affordable apartments.
And it's escalating, is that true?
It is projected, the assessment that we are modeling, which limits, obviously the lower the assessment, the less money you can borrow. So but at the same time, we want it to be the project to be affordable and for people to be interested in buying the homes. So we have modeled, I think it is about $900 per year in the first year of the CDA's operation for the townhomes, and about $1,200 a year for the single-family detached homes. And so that's for single-family detached homes, it's about $100 extra a month, and less than that for the townhomes. And those are the only homes, that's the only properties within the community that would pay that incremental assessment. And it would go up over time, I'm sorry.
Does it go up by an inflation rate, or does it just go up by a fixed rate? Like, I think when we talked, I got the impression that the townhouses are going to be at 1,800, something like that. And
your memory is better than mine. I do, yes. I think at the end, yes, I don't know whether it goes up by a fixed rate or an estimated rate of inflation. I don't know the answer to that. But the annual assessment, incremental assessment supporting the CDA and the loan amortization is projected to increase by some rate, I'm sorry, you're right, it results, I think, in the end of the 30-year period, about $1,600 for the townhomes, and I think $2,200 or $2,300 maybe for the single-family detached, or maybe it's $2,500. I can't recall, but it does go up from that initial, assessment.
A couple. Thanks for your time the other day. By the way, that was helpful. Phasing plan shows the affordable apartments in phase one. Those will be built among the first homes. Is that correct?
That is correct. So yes, and this is responsive not only to your question, Mr. Haldeman, but in part to Mr. Rogers. So what we are showing on our plan now is 120 apartment units, affordable apartment units, and it's our intent to develop those through the low-income housing tax credit program. There are 82 additional units, which Ms. Costello correctly answered, we have not determined definitively where in the project those units will be yet. So, but the 120 low-income housing tax credit unit apartment project is projected to be in phase one. Yes, sir.
My other question, I think I know the answer to it, but I'm awash in paper here, excuse me, but the fiscal impact model from, this is from Ms. Costello's report, page 24, shows that the net fiscal impact to the county through the year 2050 is positive by $20.9 million. That's a total number, not an annual number, certainly.
Question. The answer is I'm pretty certain that's correct, but the fiscal impact model, Mr. Haldeman, that was included in your staff report, not to be distinguished from the comparative fiscal analysis, which Ted Bagura prepared to compare the donation of the commercial site versus us developing it ourselves, was prepared by the county's consultant, Tischler Bice, which is done through a proprietary model that we don't have. We get the same output you do, and I can't look behind the curtain to see, and understand everything much better than you can. I'm sorry, but yes, I believe that is an aggregate number.
So it's a little less than $1 million a year. That almost has to be the answer. It's not an annual number. Okay, thank you.
Also, Mr. Holman, it's reasonable to assume they're not all going to be the same. I don't think you can get that million your first year necessarily.
No.
7.6 and pretty quick,
500.
pretty quick.
It's also not current dollars. But anyway, other questions, discussion? Thank you, Mr. Trent.
Thank you.
Speaker cards. Please state your name and address. You have 5 minutes to speak. The first card is Mr. Charles Swadley. I hope I pronounced that properly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. Chair, and distinguished people in our audience, people of goodwill on both sides of this discussion. I am Charles Swadley, and I'm a resident of James City County, and I'm a founding member involved in designing the Hope Family Village, which you've seen portrayed on the chart earlier. Our family hopes to be a participant in the Hope family by living in the village. We're going to build a house there if you all go through the process with us. We have been thrilled to partner with James City County for over 7 years on our project, and with D.R. Horton since they showed interest in acquiring the surplus property of Eastern State Hospital. D.R. Horton has included among the many proffers a donation of a 25-acre parcel to Hope Family Village to address, in part, the mental health needs in our community. And as a relatively new nonprofit, we worked hard with Senators Normant and Mason and the Virginia Assembly to propose creating a small, unique co-housing community, the first of its kind in the country, that promotes neighbor supporting neighbors. D.R. Horton has covered all costs of preparing the rezoning application, including our proposed project. And we have collaborated closely because we believe Cardinal Ridge will significantly benefit our community by addressing future housing needs, such as the 20% affordable units and encouraging home development within the primary service area. In line with the county's comprehensive plan, it will also highlight the services provided by Colonial Behavioral Health as its new center and the plan for future consolidation of services on a single site. Let me say it is fitting that these projects are located near Eastern State Hospital, the site of America's first mental health facility in 1770. And I want to highlight that of the approximate 365-acre site, only 191 acres are proposed for redevelopment. We have been patiently working with the James City County staff to address the need for rezoning to make our project a reality. We hope that you will vote in favor of this proposal. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Jay Romadka? Jay Romadka? Oh, Jean, excuse me. I beg your pardon. Jean Romadka.
Hi, my name is Jean Ramadka. I live at 5107 Scarborough Mews. At this point, I would say I'm a little overwhelmed. I live at the Mews, which is right across the street from the development that we're talking about, and also the new government center that's going to be built, looks like. And when I come out of the Mews and I look to my left, I see a beautiful piece of property where the trees are now being torn down, and it's quite sad and disheartening. And trying to get past looking at that and now looking at what we're looking at tonight, am I emotional about it? Absolutely. My husband and I moved to Williamsburg 12 years ago, and we thought the Mews was going to be our last move in retirement. We love living here, and quite honestly, to have over 1,000 housing units across the street from where we currently live is just overwhelming. It's just too much. I mean, it sounds like a beautiful development, but I think it's just too much for an area that's already very well developed, and I don't think that the commission and the county is taking into consideration the residents that already live in the community. To have 1,000 housing units, you've got thousands of people that will be living on that piece of property. To develop 191 acres and have thousands of people living there with thousands of cars daily. You're talking trucks, vehicles in and out. That's fine that you've got 3 ingress, egress areas, but the traffic is just going to be tremendous. The amount of children that will be overwhelming the schools in our area. And the matter of inconvenience over the next years to the people that already live there. What about us? It's fine, to have development, change. I am a proponent for change and development, but you've got to take into consideration the people that already live there. And to have 1,006 housing units in a development or in an area that's already very well developed, I think it's criminal. It's too much. It's overwhelming. I would like to also point out, the areas that have not been touched and are vacant, have been vacant since my husband and I moved here. The areas, the retail areas, J.C. Penney's, the Dick's Sporting Goods, Kohl's, places that have closed, and those properties haven't been touched. And I don't understand why. Why the commission here has not been more active in those properties to have those areas redeveloped. Midtown, Newtown, you've got multiple vacancies. Richmond Road, you've got commercial businesses that are closing, and what is being done to bring more commercial businesses. You've got this development that wants to have commercial areas. commercial retail stores are dying. Everybody's doing Amazon, online shopping. Retail is dying, and we really don't need retail stores. People don't shop like they used to. You know, Williamsburg is a top tourist destination, and you know, I just think that we don't need all this housing. We've already got other housing that is already being built, but to bring 1,000 more units in, I think is just too overwhelming. And I would ask your consideration for what is the residents that are already living in the community, and again, ask your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Ms. Shirley Otto.
Hi, good evening. My name is Shirley Otto, and I also live in the Mews. I live at 4906 Whitby Mews. Like Jean said, it's 109 units. It's directly across from this proposed development. I am here to oppose this project as currently proposed because its scale and impact far exceed what this area can reasonably support. Adding over 1,000 homes is not incremental growth. We are already facing disruption from the new government center being built down the street, which is a project that was approved by the Board of Supervisors without our vote, any chance to vote. Residents are bracing for traffic, detours, and construction impacts from that development alone. Cardinal Ridge would add years of additional construction. Over 1,000 new homes will generate thousands of daily vehicle trips, overwhelming roads that are already heavily used during peak hours, increased congestion, safety concerns, and delayed emergency response times, which at the Mews, we have a lot of emergency vehicles coming in through the week. There are real consequences for us. Property values must also be considered. Homes directly across from this high-density development will experience noise, traffic, and long-term construction impacts. These factors negatively affect desirability and resale value, placing an unfair financial burden on existing homeowners. Growth should strengthen a community, not overwhelm and divide it. I urge the board to reject this proposal in its current form and require a significantly reduced scope supported by independent traffic and infrastructure studies. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Ms. Carol Matula.
Hi, Carol Matula, 113 Mid-Ocean. I first wanted to say that I oppose this project. I don't think the net possible $1 million of tax revenue that this project will generate is worth destroying hundreds of acres of trees, increasing the noise, increasing the congestion to the area. There were also a lot of things that I did not see when I looked through some of the documents. The first was the source of the water for this project. I saw a lot of numbers about water usage. I was unable to tell where the water was going to be drawn from. If it's coming from the aquifer, I would like to know how much more rapidly the aquifer will be drawn down with this project, with this 1,000 or so homes and the commercial development. That may just be a significant problem. The second thing I saw was that there was a conclusory statement that Dominion Power could provide electricity. I don't know how much electricity is going to be needed. I don't really know what the facilities are for the Dominion Power, and I don't know whether we'll be stuck with additional costs if we have to create additional facilities. The project itself does not have any discussion of the roads that are surrounding it. These are narrow, basically two-lane roads, and even though there are 3 ingresses and egresses, the roads just simply cannot carry over $1,000 more of additional cars a day. And another thing that I noticed was that the county is expected to spend $15 million a year in public safety, and I have no idea what kind of public safety problems would arise that the county would need to spend $15 million on. I did not see that addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Harry Fall.
As a matter of information, Jane Ramatka is my wife. And she's been around the development world for many, many years up in Baltimore County. She knows of which she speaks. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for approving the church and the arts centers. That was very nice of you. Recognizing that's a very valuable property across the street from us because we live in the Mews. We moved there for a variety of reasons, one of which was because of all the woodland that surrounded us. We had it next to the rec center, which is now is gone. We had it across, it's going to be gone across the street. And behind us, fortunately, we have a little break of some wetlands that can't be developed at the Mews. But everything has shrunk in on us. And again, where do we at 109 homes stand against all these people up here with the big power, the big money, and all the numbers? I'm just a simple homeowner. I'm dressed like a simple homeowner. That's what I am, and I apologize for this. There's so many new developments going on. Jolly Pound Road, out beyond 199, beyond 64. Colonial Heritage. How many more do we need at this point? Do we really have that kind of influx of population? Certainly we're growing. And I understand growth is a necessary thing that happens to all communities. But do we need another 1,000 homes, even though some of them are rent controlled or not necessarily, but lower income people? I understand that. Do we need more? Where do we stop? Do we become another Richmond? Do we become another Newport News? That's the direction this county is headed. If you approve, that's just one more step in the downfall of this wonderful community, bringing it down in its value to more people moving in, not up. It's bringing it down. Everybody has addressed the traffic. When my wife and I, went to a number of meetings regarding the new government building. Our main concern was the traffic. The commercial area, if in fact it was ever developed as commercial, empties right into that new traffic circle they're going to put in. The Board of Supervisors told us that the new 2-lane traffic circle, which is going to be the one right at Depew and Ironbound, is going to be just about to carry enough traffic for the new government center, not more. It's a 2-lane traffic circle. The next one down, right at the entrance into the new government center and into Cardinal Ridge, it's going to be a 1-lane traffic circle, I beg your pardon, 1-lane traffic circle. Now, how do you handle another 1,000 cars a day with those 2 traffic circles and the third one that hasn't even been developed yet? How do you handle that? So somewhere along the line, the Board of Supervisors and the development here haven't been speaking on traffic. I'm the one that has to pull out. Shirley, my wife Jean, we're the ones that have to pull out into this traffic from the Mews. How are we going to do that? You can't have another stoplight. You can't have another traffic circle because you've got the stoplight right at 199 in Long Hill. 100 yards further across the bridge, you have another one. Going to put one 50 yards further down? You can't do that. So how do we, as homeowners here, that moved into here with all the good intentions of maintaining a wonderful lifestyle and is having it destroyed, how do we now circumvent that? You can't. Jean addressed the commercial aspect of this. We have so much vacancy in commercial, and all of a sudden they're talking about more commercial. This is just hyperbole. That's precisely what it is. We're going to give the county land if they want to develop into commercial. It's all hyperbole, is what it is. It's not a true fact that that's going to happen. But if it did, one more slam right in our door's face at the Mews and the apartments next to us and so forth. It's not just the Mews. I just don't understand why we need more. I just don't want to see Williamsburg continue down the slide to another Richmond, and we are. That's really a sad state of affairs. And I understand that development has to go, and I'm not being repetitive, yes I am. And I understand that all these folks here and their professionalism is well thought out, well handled, and presented very well to you, and I know it's very attractive. But let's not forget, those of us that lived here and moved in here with all good intentions of being sound citizens and taxpayers, let's not forget who we are. That's very important. I ask that of you, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Mr. Bill Manning.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bill Manning. I am one of the owners of TTSB LLC, who owns the property right off of 199 when you turn on to Long Hill Road. And I tend to agree with the people of the Muse. We sometimes take 10, 15 minutes just to get out of our entrance. And it's pretty tough. But that is one of my concerns. I have a concern down the road, is noise going to be a problem with the commercial project coming up to the back of our property? Basically what I'm saying is the same thing that the people from the Muse are saying. And I probably need to get with Susan and talk to her a little more about the project itself, but good luck with it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth Filligar.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission, James City County staff, and our partners, D.R. Horton and Colonial Behavioral Health. My name is Beth Filliger, and I'm a board member at Hope Family Village. I'm speaking in support of the rezoning application for a variety of reasons. Hope Family Village supports the project and believes it will significantly improve the area. D.R. Horton has been a good partner in the project, keeping Hope Family Village informed and, most importantly, understanding the needs of our community when considering the land location of our project. If you look at our project, it is completely almost encumbered by an RPA, which gives our community kind of quiet and peaceful, kind of serene area. As you may have learned from one of our founding members, our community is one of supports a mission of caring and accepting community to support families and their loved ones that struggle with mental health and other challenges. Hope Family Village has not only single-family homes, but townhomes, and then we also have 2 fair weather lodges, which are adults who have mental health illness, but are functioning members of the community, have jobs and so forth. And they're for same-sex people who live in a home and have rules that they share and live together, and we kind of help monitor them. But it gives them, independence from their families and a sense of being on their own in these lodges, which there are fair weather lodges all over the country. There is not a co-housing community that supports mental health, and we have been working with Co-Housing USA, getting support and advice on how we can develop this community and make it a model for the whole United States. So this is a big adventure for us. And then we also are going to have a 4,000 square foot common house, which will be available for the community to use. NAMI Williamsburg will have their meetings there, and there will be other, counseling and other things, educational things that we'll do to support mental health for not just people that live in our community, but for James City County or other counties, surrounding counties. So it's obviously very important for us. So after 7 years of working together, we are extremely grateful for the support of the county and D.R. Horton to make this community a reality for us. And we hope that you will vote in favor of this proposal. And I also want to thank you, because I did not know that General Services wanted to move off Tuning Road. And as we have looked at that property on numerous occasions, we have noticed a lot of the noise from there, and we're thinking about how we could mitigate that. So now that they're moving out and hopefully this whole project gets approved and we get there, that's something that we won't have to deal with. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Andrew Huckabee, welcome back.
Hello, my name is Andrew Huckabee, and I still live at 115 Deer Road Drive. Now, I don't claim to be a or I don't claim to be an expert in development, planning and anything like that. I'm just an electronics technician, nothing like that. But to me, it sounds like all the donations that this proposal has are basically bargaining chips because they might know that the $1 million a year roughly is really not worth it for the county. And a lot of my fellow speakers back there have said that, notice that, like in Newtown, it's in the city of Williamsburg, but Midtown Row and all of those mixed use communities, there are a lot of vacancies. And I mean, I drive by there all the time, go to shops that are open, and I don't know if it's a matter of no demand or no demand at the price they're charging for rent, but they do seem to be vacant. So there seems to be a surplus of vacant commercial, buildings and properties. So that sounds like, well, it looks good on paper for the county, especially the commercial donation. And how long will it actually take for the county to recuperate any money from that commercial development? It may be years. So then maybe factoring in the cost of that not selling quickly or anything like that could be a consideration. And then also, somewhat of a take on the traffic thing is, well, I mean, on paper, I'm sure the roads can handle it because, I mean, studies were done and all of that. But physically, it can already get pretty bad there, driving during peak hours. But this area has a really high tourist attraction. And, you look at suburbs of DC like Fairfax and Alexandria and all of that, and the biggest thing you notice there is, there's traffic. And if people stop going to places like that because of the traffic, not wanting to deal with that, what's going to stop them or make them continue to come here when traffic is just abysmal? And, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have any more speaker cards. Would anybody else like to address the commission on this subject? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Open it for discussion or a motion.
I had a follow-on question for the applicant, if I can.
Sure.
I just wanted some clarification on both the Hope Village and the colonial behavior. And if I understand, I don't really understand Proffer 8 for the public use site as it pertains to colonial behavior and the Hope Village. Because if I understood it correctly, the colonial behavior folks are separate from this application. I mean, they've already broken ground. So is that correct?
So the colonial behavioral health property, correct me if I'm wrong, is a part of this application. It was applied for, the zoning was applied for when the Commonwealth owned the property. And it remains a part of our application and is bound by our master plan and zoning.
So if your application wasn't approved, the colonial behavior, which just broke ground to build their facility, would have to stop?
So they are, their current use, their current proposal is by right. It is consistent with the current zoning for the property, which is public lands. Their future expansion that's programmed into our master plan may not be, I don't know, but that the existing development is by right under the public lands zoning and would also be consistent with the zoning that we have proposed for the property.
Does that also apply to the Hope Village?
So Hope Family Village property is also a part of our project. It's a part of our master plan. It's bound by the same proffers and master plan that the Colonial Behavioral Health Site would be. And we have proffered in 8A to donate that property to the Hope Family Village.
Right, and so if your application wasn't approved, the Hope Village thing doesn't happen?
I believe it does not happen, yes. I don't believe, and I'm shooting from the hip, but I don't think that would be consistent with public lands uses. It would not. It would have to be rezoned.
Staff?
Can I just answer that?
Sure, go ahead.
So there is a line item in.
Should this application not be approved, even if the transfer happens, the property would still have to be rezoned to be residential. So it would still have to go through a rezoning process, because it would still be zoned public land.
In a less density.
Right,
Oh, how many in Hope Village?
27 units.
27 units, as opposed to, okay, thank you.
Ms. Costello?
Ms. Costello, come on back for a second, okay, please, thank you.
Are there any other, I know that in the past, the county has owned land for industrial kind of stuff. Has the county ever gotten involved in commercial retail property ownership to then sell to whomever to put in some kind of a retail, which I assume this is what this is going to be? Am I right on that?
As long as I've been doing planning, I've never known it to happen, but I don't know as far as past that, if it's ever occurred before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other?
I'm going to be long-winded,
You?
We expect that.
okay? I'm going to be long, because this is kind of deja vu for me. Because this goes back to 2019, when we did the comp plan. And when we did that comp plan, we were looking at a population projection of 120,000, which is about 50,000 more than what we have currently. And how you fit all of that inside of James City County was really a question. So when we got to the Eastern State land use applications for it, we struggled about the idea of what would the impact be on the community character? What would the impact be on the environment? And what would the rural areas start to look at, that field that we have within the county, even within the PSA? And we struggled with this notion of cumulative impact that talks about traffic, talks about the environment and the cost of government. And so when the heated discussions that went through this period, we came to no conclusions. And when this went to the board and they approved it in 21, they also kind of had a problem with this too, for kind of the same reasons we did, in terms of the density and what that was going to look like on the traffic and the environment. To the point where they wanted the update to the Powhatan watershed, which is what's included here, to be able to assess what the impact was going to be. And of course, when that report came back, and once again, this is about not looking here, but looking here, is that when you looked at the initial watershed plan that was in 2000, and in 208, and then 222, and then what was projected for the build out, the two watersheds that this thing is in became unsupportable. And it became unsupportable because of the impervious surface and the amount of the density. And they specifically identified within that plan on this piece of property 2 stream restoration projects on there for it. And if you recall, when we went through the Westwood Park piece, is they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Right? So there's actually three streams, or two streams with two reaches that are impacted for it. And then we came to this portion where we still hadn't gotten an application for the land use change for rezoning in the 23 timeframe. And the staff proposed that if we were going to do mixed use on this property, that we ought to be sensitive about two things. And of course, as Mr. Haldeman pointed out, they didn't approve it. But the two things that they had for guiding principles, which were in the staff report, were mitigating the impacts regarding the redevelopment of this site. And those two things were the preservation and protection of the environment sensitive features and the protection and expected enhancements of the immediate transportation network. So I'm back where I was in 219, kind of looking at the same issues of the environment and the traffic pieces that we were trying to deal in the conference, but also on this project. So when I look at the TIA for Cardinal Ridge, which is August 25, as you've heard from some folks already, at build-out, the projected 4 phases are for 1,006 residential units and 17,010 vehicles per day driving along Long Hill, Depew to Gates and Ironbound. Okay, that's at build-out. Suppose you add in what the current, and this gets to the cumulative piece, if you put the cumulative impact, if you introduce the current number of vehicles from Ashbury to Galt today, it's 9,100 vehicles, which then brings you to a grand total of 26,110 vehicles daily from Ashbury to Ironbound on an unmitigated 2-lane highway, which essentially is only 2 entrances out of this place. And that's the Ashbury one for it, and the Galt Lane. And into the commercial side, I know you want to talk about that for it. So by comparison, if you took a look at the road on Richmond Road from Lightfoot to Croker, okay, it's 20,000 daily trips on a 4-lane highway. And from Croker to Tohono, it's about 15,000. And of course, all of you know about Monticello from 199 to News Road, which is 39,000. And you can't do anything about it except do what? You build more roads, and there's no more roads to put 6 lanes there, right? So once you build into this thing, there's no going back, and you're going to end up with a traffic thing unmitigated for it. So that really bothers me about putting this mixed use in here. And the issue for me has always been, is mixed use appropriate for this area, given the impacts that we have? And so now we come to the environmental section of that principle on that. And if you took a look at the documents that they've provided here, and we've already talked about the Powhatan watershed identifying those 3 stream beds, is I get mixed signals across these documents. And based on the proposed land cover for this project, it's 135 acres. And the calculation for this, if you take a look at it for their stormwater, is 111 pounds a year of phosphorus reduction they're going to take out. And if you go to the sheets inside of their community impact document, right, and you go back to those Appendix Cs, you're going to see these spreadsheets from the Virginia resource reduction piece that they use, right? And they've done all the calculations for it. But they've calculated for a rainfall in the Atlas 14 that's no longer appropriate for the changes in climate change. And the county recognized that in 2 ways. When they updated on March of the 25th of this year, the special stormwater criteria, and they put a series of voluntary special stormwater criteria to offset that. On top of that, the county has stood by the Hampton Roads Planning District, which also recognizes the increase in precipitation for it and has the same standards that our SSC has had in there. So why you would try to design a stormwater facility that won't accommodate the precipitation we know is unmitigated makes no sense to me. And as we talked about in the general services, they not only recognize that they made that correction to their application, as well as the government facility did the same thing. So it's not an unreasonable thing to say, hey, step up to what's being there. So back to the community impact statement for that. We've gone through what they say they're going to do, which is use the Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Regulation for it. But they say the number and type of special stormwater criteria measures will be provided based on the ordinance requirements at the time of site plan submittal. Why do we need to wait at the site plan when we know these things are dysfunctional to begin with? We should all have some assurance about what the impact is going to be and how it's going to be mitigated. So when you go to the master stormwater plan, which is in there, and once again, I'm back to the mixed signals here, they talk about outfall may be sized for a 100-year storm and meets the SSC number 8. Whoa, that's good. And then it says any BMPs provided to meet special stormwater criteria will be 6 or 7, shall be excessive. So it looks like they're doing that. And then they say, hey, SS 13 may be implemented, which post-development calculation. It's one of the ones to get at that. And so I was happy to see that. But then when I got to the proffer and tried to find the language that would actually implement that as opposed to some proposal of what we may or may not do, I really got kind of mixed signals again, because there are 2 elements of that proffer that bothered me. And I read the statement. The first statement is, shall include a requirement that will all outlet protections be sized for the 100-year post-development storm and criteria is dated March 20, And it talks about that for it. But then you go down to the language and it only has to do with subwatershed 108, which means that there are outfalls in 107, as well as a stream restoration project that isn't even considered. And so when I read that, I come to the conclusion there was never really any intent of what they said in their master plan that they were going to do and what they've actually proffered for. Now, to the stream restoration that they have proffered, what they said they'll do is, I think it's $1,250,000 that they will give to the county to do that. And I thought, just like with the commercial thing, why would the county agree to take the money for that? Well, if the county took the money for it, that means they're going to be responsible for maintaining the maintenance. And currently, the county has multiple stream restoration that's taken on. And in the previous CIP, the stormwater folks budgeted $300,000 for maintenance of these things because they have to be maintained because of the extraction of the pollutants out of it. That estimate now went to $500,000. So why is it that we think the county should be responsible for something that this development will be responsible, as well as the HOA be responsible for it, not the county? So I don't know why the county would take on that responsibility, and it certainly doesn't mitigate the issues that we were talking about. So, like I said, I get mixed signals, but when it comes down to it, I see exactly what they put in black and white and what they said in their proffer. And to me, they do not meet that second principle of do no harm to the environment, which we talked about before in the last one. And they certainly haven't mitigated this thing to the extent that they should. And there's nothing to prevent them from putting 4 lanes in there. As a matter of fact, if you go to look at the VDOT folks, the ADT we're talking about is way over what they call for a 4-lane highway. So I don't see how this mixed use, this density is not only not right, we ought to put something else in there besides this kind of a development of 1,006 residential units.
I maybe ask a question to you. My understanding that this application is going to be considered at the same time that Westwood is in January, February, whenever it is. It's also my understanding that, you know, this stream, whichever way this goes, is the Cardinal Ridge property line goes up the center of this, and Westwood is in this, also the center. And it's my understanding that Westwood gives money, Cardinal Ridge gives money to repair this, and the whole thing gets repaired. The problem is that, you know, that the way this is set up, the way, if I understand this correctly, is Cardinal Ridge would only be responsible for part of this, but when put together with Westwood, they could fix the whole thing. And it seems to me that that's a good solution for the county to take this responsibility, because you have two homeowners associations who, if there is an issue here, they're not going to be able to agree on the time of day, let alone how much each should pay. And it's also my understanding that going forward, I guess there's monitoring of in the first 5 years, and then it's every 3 years after that, I believe, that the cost of keeping this up to snuff is not that significant. But it seems to me, pragmatically speaking, if you want to have this whole thing protected, which we do, then the Westwood and Cardinal Ridge together, with the county taking care of that, then if there's any screw-ups, we have full accountability. We won't have to worry about, you know, D.R. Horton or the Westwood people in terms of who's responsible if this isn't done right.
Well, number one is, I don't know what the Westwood Parker people are going to do or not, because when we heard them, they had no intention of doing that. What's more, and this is where the really thing comes in, is they never, like Horton did, is laid out where the stormwater facilities were going to be, what there was going to be, and what the outfall, as well as to take responsibility on the Horton part of at least the outfalls from 108, that they would be responsible for that. So when you take a look at how that stream could be impacted, it's as much to do with the design of the BMP as well as the design of the outfall as it goes in there. Number two is any homeowners association, and we'll use Newtown as an example, okay? In this, one of the streams that goes down in there, that goes into this property, is already poor because of their BMP. They're responsible for fixing the stream and the BMP. Why should the county be responsible for fixing anything that's wrong with the BMPs in here, as well as the stream restoration when it's part of their property? And so if you want to develop it, step up to the responsibility, the financial long-term responsibility of 30 or 50 years to do this. Now, that's an opinion, and you and I maybe disregard, and I've tried to answer your question, but after everything is done and said, they did nothing for the stream project that's at Ashbury on the upper half here, which is in subwatershed 107. Nothing. They've only proffered to do that one stream or recognize that that's a problem. I have a problem with that. We've already identified what their problems are, but they've not proffered to try to fix it. Period.
When you were on the planning commission in 2019, when this whole thing came up with the comprehensive plan, when this was kind of looked at as mixed use, what was the concept of mixed use at the time?
Very close to what's here now. And we have the same problem with the density, which is what we're talking about today. It's too much. Put something else in there that doesn't impact the surrounding communities. If you're in the Muse, you can't get out that road right now. And we're talking about putting a 4-lane traffic circle that's with less than 25 yards. I mean, I'm dumbfounded about what that's going to look like. I mean, I drive that road all the time. And then that's not even talking about the other set of apartments that are on Long Hill. When you go past there, they have the same problem. There's a bus stop there too, right on the other side of this traffic circle we're gonna have. We're just asking for problems.
So not to mitigate what it will feel like, but that alternative is what's approved by VDOT.
What's that? I'm sorry.
The alternative, the what am I looking at? The the roundabout. So I'm not saying what it will feel like for the residents. I am saying that is what's consistent with the recommendation from VDOT.
No, the Horton folks proffered to do 4 lanes as opposed to 2 lanes, which is what the government has. And so both of the traffic circles with the development of this project would have 4 lanes going from Long Hill, Depew, and 4-lane road going to Ashbury, and a 4-lane roundabout. So they would have to take the 2-lane roundabouts the government facility is going to build and tear those out and put 4 lanes in there, okay, for the roundabouts, as well as the road structure from Long Hill to Ashbury on Depew would be 4.
I thought I read that as or.
Pardon?
I thought I read that as or, like.
Okay, and so it's the road from Ashbury to Long Hill, Galt. Okay, so you're coming out of Ashbury, which is the 17,000 cars, right? Or take it off, but they've got coming out of Ashbury, and they're gonna go right or left. And so add the other 9,600, it's still a 2-lane highway. And just think about the volume if you drive on any of the highways that I talked about and see if you like that. Okay, and that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here.
Any other comments, questions?
Okay. To the extent Mr. Polster's questions, or comments, which are quite substantive, are a part of the considerations for other commissioners, we'd love the opportunity to provide some responses. I think we could help clarify some of those things. I think first and foremost, I'm going to ask Scott Dunn to come up and speak to the traffic issue and about in particular, the volume of traffic on the 2-lane road section.
I guess we could start with, there was the latest back and forth was regard to what's going to be put in place at the government center and how it expands with Cardinal Ridge at the intersection of Long Hill and Depew, and then Long Hill and Ashbury. With the government center, there's going to be a roundabout installed at that intersection at Long Hill and Depew that will have 2 circulating lanes in that roundabout with the construction of the government center. When Cardinal Ridge comes online, the leg serving the commercial development will be added, and another lane will be added on Long Hill Drive. That roundabout will be consistent throughout. So what's being proffered for the roundabout with the government center will be in place for Cardinal Ridge. So that's
Not 4 lanes in the roundabout?
no, it's 2 lanes, 2 lanes around the entire circle.
Could you bring up the schematic of that, please?
I don't have it with me, sir.
And that's what I was basing this on, is the schematics that I saw. And so I wanted to see the lanes going into it, the lanes coming out of it, and the number of lanes that are going from Depew to Ashbury.
There'll be a 4.
Right, and then the 4 lanes going into the Ashbury.
Yes, because the Ashbury roundabout will be designed with a single circulatory lane with the government center. With Cardinal Ridge, an additional lane will be added to that roundabout.
Right,
Yes.
and then coming out of Ashbury, it goes to 2 lanes.
Toward
Galt.
Toward Galt, yes, sir.
Okay?
Okay. And
That's exactly what I said. And so it's the level of traffic that's going to be on there that I'm having a problem with.
Okay.
And your TIA doesn't account for that cumulative impact across the entire road.
It does. The intersections are analyzed.
You only said 17,010. You didn't add in the current, which is 96,000 off of the 25 ADT from VDOT. That's what the current is. So that's 26,000.
Yes, but 17,000 trips are not traveling that section of Galt.
It's the cumulative impact of the number of vehicles that I'm after, which is the issue.
So if we look at the development itself, you earlier stated it generates 17,000 trips a day.
That's it.
Based
External.
based on the distribution, 70% of that traffic goes to 199. 30% goes toward Galt and Iron Bridge. So only 30% of the 17,000 trips are traveling on the section of Galt you cited, or sorry, Depew.
And without the current,
So
without the current number of traffics in those numbers.
So, exactly. So if we say, let's just round and say we have 17,000 trips, we take 30% of that. So we say 5,000 trips a day would, from our development, would use the section of Depew from Ashbury to Ironbound. That's 30% of the 17,000 of the distribution to the total site. Add that to the existing 9,000 you cited, that's 15,000 cars a day.
Right. And so what do you
15,000
think
cars
the
a day.
ADT is for Long Hill today?
Excuse me?
The ADT for Long Hill today, which is a 4-lane highway, it's 14,000. Okay, and so it's the traffic volume cumulative of this thing, and it's too much. And that's an opinion based on the numbers.
Okay.
And all I'm doing is looking at what the current traffic looks like within this network.
Understand.
Okay, and that's Old Town to Ironbound. Okay, and that's the numbers that I'm having problem with. And it's what causes the people out of the Mews not being able to get out. It causes that guy's business to have the same problem. It causes the traffic coming off of 199 that merges into that to be a problem already today. And it'll be compounded. Okay, and so it's not your job to fix the world's problem.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a question of what you put into a bag. Okay.
I think the point Mr. Polster really was made by Ms. Haskins earlier that with growth comes impacts, and we have, as is required by the comp plan, mitigated those impacts through our proffered improvements, which have been approved by VDOT. So to maintain the overall level of service C, which is consistent with the comp plan requirements. As to the commitments on stormwater, I would humbly submit to you and to the commission that we didn't create these problems. I mean, these are not impacts that the developer brought on itself or on the property. We're not here talking about our poor stewardship of the property. We're here trying to help solve an existing problem that was caused by the state's development of that property without stormwater attenuation. And so we are very serious and committed to fulfilling the goals and objectives of the Powhatan Creek watershed. And I'm very convicted that our proffers do in fact do that, and staff who's reviewed it very carefully with SRP, I think agrees with that. We may not have committed in every way to everything that we could have, but we're trying to do what we think we can afford, what's reasonable, and what will be effective. So to the part of your concern about addressing stream restoration, that $1,250,000 wasn't sort of pulled out of thin air. That was something that was a serious commitment that challenges the economics of the project, but that we wanted to make as we felt that was based on estimates that our engineers did about what the overall cost would be for some of the stream restoration that would be required, combined with the commitments that Westwood Park has agreed subsequent to your hearings to make, that would be sufficient for the county and to leverage state dollars, which the state is ultimately the responsible party. I mean, that's where the erosion came from, right? To leverage state dollars. We can't leverage state dollars, right? If we committed to go do it, it's on our own dime. And quite frankly, it's infeasible, and our project wouldn't happen if it were on us. But we can commit serious resources to the county to fix an existing problem that we didn't create, right? To allow the existing problem to be fixed soon, very soon. And that leverage and allow the county, and part of the reason to ask for the county's assistance in performing the work is its expertise, number one, but two, its ability to leverage those state dollars, which is where the responsibility ultimately lies. And as far as maintenance goes, for long-term maintenance, I agree with Mr. Everson, and I think county staff would agree that the implementation of modern stormwater management on this site is going to largely resolve the ongoing problems, right? And so, but in the stream, degraded stream channels will be afforded the opportunity to recover. Now, there are some areas that I think we all know, and it's well documented in the Powhatan Creek Watershed Plan, won't recover naturally. And that's where the effort is required, where our money would be spent. And it is our intent with our proffer to make that real. Now, the ongoing maintenance after that work is done, after that restoration occurs, is not our stormwater management facilities. Those will remain ours. Those will remain our responsibility. We have bonds associated with those, and we will be obligated to, and there'll be maintenance agreements in place. That will be an obligation of the developer until it transitions to homeowner control, and then it'll be an HOA responsibility. There's nobody, no how, no way, I heard a couple of things said that I just want to make clear, are we trying to pass the buck to the county for maintenance of our stormwater management? It's simply the stream restoration work that would be done. The county would be the steward of those monies. They would have state access to state dollars for not only the restoration, but the maintenance of it. And it's not, and at that point in time where maintenance is ongoing, it's about, as Mr. Everson said, 2 homeowners associations. So it's really imposing on your request for us to take over the maintenance is really the request of future homeowners associations, not us, because the project will be built out at the point of maintenance. Future homeowners associations to take on responsibility for maintenance of stream restoration work, which I believe is going to be nominal, for a problem that was caused by the state, many years ago. So that's our story. I'm not saying you should accept it, but that's our story. That's the other side of the coin. And as far as our stormwater management, we are very much committed to implementing the most modern SSC criteria. And if there needs to be tweaks to our proffers to make that clear, we're prepared to do that. The request that we make a specific commitment to SSC criteria 12 or 13, which deal with over-designing, oversizing your stormwater facilities for potentially increased rain events that aren't a part of kind of the base requirements, may well be a part of our stormwater solution. But this is a 365-acre site, and we're in the conceptual phase, right? We have not done formal design and topographic survey work and grading plans to help determine how this project will be built. We would like the flexibility, I think staff would like the flexibility, SRP would, to collaborate with us when we're in that, when we have that information, when we're in design, to figure out what is the best methods, what are the best stormwater management methods to address the protection of the resource and the goals and objectives of the Powhatan Creek Watershed Management Plan. We are committed to implementing those. We proffered that we will implement through our development plans the new and latest, greatest SSC criteria. But to pigeonhole us to specific criteria early could result in us either having to come back and amend our commitment, or a lesser ultimate stormwater plan in terms of overall protection of the watershed. There are many other criteria in there. Those are just 2 or 3 of them that are very effective and very helpful to addressing watershed stormwater management, and particularly in the Powhatan Creek watershed. And all we're asking is to be able to collaborate with staff to do that, not to get out of it, just to collaborate on what options we have, not to pigeonhole ourselves on specific ones. That's all. Sorry. Thank you for your
Okay, do I get a chance to comment? I hope. I would have felt better if I saw the master plan, which said we're going to do these SSCs, and then I went to the proffer, and they're not specific. It just says we're going to adhere to it. And when you look at the 13 SSCs in there, as we saw in the one land use case, they decided to choose something that didn't mitigate the issue that I'm talking about, which is the increased rainfall and the sizing of these facilities. And so when I go to Appendix C and look at their VRMM calculations, it's based on a standard that's not going to accommodate the 25%. And so they've done enough work when you take a look at their stormwater master plan document to be able to say exactly what they want to do for the outfalls, the type of the BMP they're going to put in there, and how much crap they're going to take out of it. And then they only proffer for what? Only one section of this property and not the other stream at all. And so to the point where the county should take responsibility for this, I don't see it. I don't see where it makes any sense. The county inherited the stream problems from previous development standards in the same way that Eastern State inherited those problems in the updates that are there. And so I'm just saying, if you're going to put that kind of development in there, mitigate the issues for the entire property. And
At that point.
yeah, I did, but that, I'm trying to come back to his point.
Right, the stream restoration is the money coming from Westwood and from Cardinal Ridge to fix this, which the county will do, and then maintain it. The BMTs inside this thing, that's a whole different story. And that can.
They're the contributors to the problem.
We have local, state, and federal regulations, which our staff is very competent to know, as are their engineers. We don't have to engineer this thing.
They've done it already. They've already decided that. Go look at Appendix C. That's your preliminary. It is. It's a question of what's in the proffers and what's to come. And I would have felt more comfortable if you would have committed yourself to the increased rainfall and the sizing of these BMPs.
Do you want to address it? Come on up.
RRM spreadsheet that you saw.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
I'm sorry. Mark Richardson, Timmons Group. Thank you. So we're the civil engineer on this. The VRRM spreadsheet that we did was for a new development. This is a redevelopment. There's about 25 acres of existing impervious out there. We looked at this from a worst-case scenario. It was primarily to make sure that we could show SRP that we could fit what we were going to do. The other thing that came up was, you said in the master plan that we showed the different items, and we did. But we still have a stormwater master plan to go through with SRP. So they told us, we're not committing at any point right now to what SSC criteria you're using. Just show that you could get your 7 units, how you're going to address it, and that's what that did. So it's not locking us into it, which is why we didn't put it in the proffers, but we did show that it's a viable solution. I hope that makes it a little more clear.
I would agree. And because the SSC is voluntary, I expected to see something of that nature there as opposed to being open-ended. In the same way that I looked at a case today that we recently heard, okay, and they admitted to the fact that it may change, but they committed to that.
And that was something. Well, correct, yeah. The SSC, as he pointed out, is proffered, so we still have to do it. We have 7 units to hit.
Which ones are going to get at the mitigation of the rainfall and the sizing of those BMPs is my issue. And has been from the very beginning, okay? It's a voluntary selection of the SSCs. Your points, you have to decide which ones. Like I said, I would have been really happy if you would have selected the ones that would have mitigated the issue.
There's also a lot of those in there that we don't even have the option to do. Off-site BMP restorations and other things that, to get 7 points, which is a lot, I think the other one you said was 3 or 4 for the county center. We have 7. So these don't have a whole lot of points associated with them. There's a high likelihood we're going to pick one of those 3. We just do not know which one yet until we get into design. We go through the stormwater master plan with SRP, and then we do our grading plans to figure out where all of this fits.
I understand that. I'm just looking for a commitment, and that's what I don't see. And I've been dead set against building any BMPs within the county when they are going to be obsolete given the current standards and will not accommodate for the increased precipitation. I mean, it makes no sense to me to agree to that. Okay, I'm finished.
Anybody else?
Are you here about our discussion? Are you talking about, are you closing it for our discussion?
No. If you have anything you'd like to add to this, feel free.
Just a few things. We've got 30 minutes. I'm pretty naive by nature, but I have some faith. Hopefully I have some faith in our own stormwater and resource protection division that they're going to continue to work at the site plan and all with these builders, right? Like I guess what I struggle with is I feel like up here, we're trying to do the job of our own county's stormwater management professionals. I agree. I want good water, that's for sure. I also, density aside, it's a lot of houses. But to me, there's something extraordinarily appealing about infilling within the PSA because people are coming here. You know, people are, and they really have every right to come here. And maybe they're coming from within here. For instance, I have 3 children that grew up here. They all want to stay here. That my one house is not eventually going to take care of them. They both have young families. One spent way over a year looking for some place to live in James City County. And a piece about this workforce housing jumps out at me also, in that I'd like to see the workforce housing brought closer to where the work is, instead of, you know, suggesting that you get some spot out in New Kent County and you're also going to have transportation to like work at the places that are offering jobs for many people in that economical range. So that's bringing it within the PSA. It's bringing it closer to where things are, and like there was talk about the empty commercial spaces, which I also agree with. But also, if we don't have everybody living at the outer edge of New Kent, if they're living within our PSA, they'll support businesses within the PSA. So I believe those 1,000 residences, which I wish was 500 residences, I guess, but that those families are going to support businesses that are convenient to them. And so I feel like it's been hijacked by the storm traffic. If at some point I've got a staff report that says VDOT says it's consistent, and that the stormwater people say it's consistent, and I'm not an engineer. So I guess what I'm telling you is I would vote in support of it. That's all I'm doing.
Just to add to this, competing priorities that are all extremely important. And I was just looking at I wanted to see the numbers again for the adequate public schools facilities test. And you have Clairburg, Baker, James Blair, Lafayette that are all under enrolled. This brings enrollment up. In some areas, somewhat significantly, that can be debated. But listening to everything, and I appreciate all of the different takes, perspectives. I don't know, I just wanted to add that in.
I just like to add too with, I've heard all the sides, and I've listened to all the sides, and I think if we are pushing for development, you know, clustering kind of development within the PSA, as Steve was mentioning and others, that this checks that box. Yes, it's a lot of houses, and with more dense population comes more traffic. I mean, that's expected. I would like to see a little fewer houses, but I think as presented, it seems like a good, well thought out plan for that space, and at this time, I would be in support of it.
I'll weigh in. I'll try to be brief. I, along with Mr. Polster, were part of the comprehensive plan team 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that considered this, and I argued strenuously and unsuccessfully against a project of this scale in this particular location for a lot of reasons, and I kept that prejudice all the way up until I started reading this material over Thanksgiving, and I think this is a really, really good design. I like the affordable housing piece. I like the fact that a big part of the affordable housing piece is done in phase one, right up front. It's often the last thing that a developer wants to put in. I have had a long bias against residential development in James City County. I think Mr. Tran earlier in his presentation mentioned that James City County has a well thought out plan, development plan. And I, with all due respect, couldn't disagree with you more. Our land use map that was designed in 1975 mostly as an abomination and has created numerous problems, stormwater problems, stream pollution, traffic congestion, and more to come. We're only 2/3 of the way to build out in this, and it's a mess. I live on Lake Powell Road, right next to the Williamsburg Airport, the little airport. I left my house at 5:30 to come to this meeting, and it was my good fortune that I had to turn right on 199 to get here, because you could not turn left on 199. In fact, you could not turn right into the two left-hand lanes on Brookwood to even approach 199. It was total standstill. The traffic from Brookwood, the westbound traffic from Brookwood, was backed up a half a mile because even when they got a green light, they couldn't proceed. The left-hand turn lane into Brookwood was backed up past the turn lane. And so there were people who needed to make a left-hand turn who couldn't even get into the turn lane. That's not the first time I've seen that happen. It happens in the morning, it happens in the afternoon. The VDOT, for which I have zero respect, put on a presentation in Laurel Lane School 3 years ago that projected westbound evening rush hour traffic back to Henry Street. There were serious suggestions of putting bow ties. One person even suggested building a tunnel on Jamestown Road under 199. No kidding. But it's an indication of the problem. Now, this is 5 miles, I suppose, away from that intersection or that series of intersections. There are three. There's Tyler, of course, Jamestown, and Brookwood. It is not unusual heading eastbound once you pass Tyler to wait 3 turns of the traffic light to get through Jamestown Road. So our land use policies for the last 50 years I think the land use map was written after closing hour in a saloon somewhere, but I mean, it's just, anyway. This design is great. As I said, affordable housing. Like Steve, I am willing to put faith in our stormwater professionals to design a stormwater program that will control runoff at least for 20 or 25 years. None of them ever last more than 20 or 25 years, and then somebody's going to have to rebuild them. I'm accustomed in residential development to be concerned about the impacts on schools, but I'm not bothered by this. Not only is it under enrollment, I'm usually concerned about the cumulative impact, but the birth rate's going down. And we just built Bright Beginnings, or we will, and that's going to take enrollment pressure off of Clara Bird Baker. And so that's not a problem for me anymore either. It's just too big. And you have to add to this Westwood. It's 1,100 homes, or 1,000 homes here. It's 185 homes in Westwood, which is basically this. So that's 1,200 homes. We just had a case last meeting, 475 units on News Road, a CCRC, probably 350 independent units feeding into Monticello Avenue. There's 75 condominiums being built in Powhatan Settlement, just past News Road on Monticello Avenue, feeding down that same corridor. The city of Williamsburg, in its wisdom, just approved 200 more homes at Quarter Path, and that's just a step in a much larger development. Stonehouse just opened another track, 400 homes. These, I accept the traffic study on these exits. I think the exits are probably going to work. But then what? These cars, 17,000 cars here, another 2,500 from Westwood, and you know, I don't know how many daily trips from the Ford's Colony and Powhatan Settlement, and then you complete the build out of Ford's Colony and so forth. And I'm trying to imagine the intersection of Lafayette, Long Hill, and Richmond Road. I just can't imagine in another 8 or 9 years if we have 17,000 daily trips. True, the gentleman said they're not all headed down in one direction. They'll disperse, no question about it. Some of them are going to end up at Brookwood and 199. I know that. This isn't going to work, and it's not a reflection of the design or anything else. It's good. If I had been emperor of James City County for the last 5 years, I would have a long time ago said, scale this thing back. I mean, I don't know if it's too late to save James City County or Greater Williamsburg, the colonial capital and all that nonsense, but it's getting close to being too late if it's not there already. So I'm going to vote no on this, and so there. That's my 2 cents.
Tell you the truth, I didn't. My problems with this have nothing to do with what you guys are talking about. My problems with the taxing district and having the county be in the commercial retail business. Bothers me.
I don't think they'll be in the business. They're going to sell.
They're going to sell it, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
But
Any other comments?
still haven't decided.
Much more.
It's not that I'm not sure that the stormwater guys will do their job. Okay? I'm just looking for some assurance for something in the same way. And it's as simple as that. And I really do go along with you. I mean, there are lots of things about this I like. But at the end of the day, like all the rest of you, it's too much. Or you wish for something smaller to accommodate for it. And there is where we are.
Mr. Trent, one more try.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you all, first of all, thoughtful deliberation. In consultation with our engineering consultant and the proposed developer, the applicant would be willing to make the change in the proffers to commit to one of those criteria. It may be that we ultimately utilize more than one, but Mr. Polster, we would be willing to commit to one of those, similar to what was asked of the others. The only other thing I would say, just in some latitude you would give us, is that to do all the things that you all want, right? You know, the affordable housing, the high quality aesthetic, the walking trails, the diverse mix of uses, you know, paying for property that we're giving to the county, and to do those things costs. And to get what we've offered, it has to be spread across a certain number of homes that we can build and sell to pay for all that. So I just would ask for some consideration that the scale of the project is driven by the scale of the ask. But anyway, we're committed to that.
I appreciate the offer, but I hesitate to even make a comment about that or say anything because it's really an issue for the county's attorney's office in terms of proffers. Okay? And I'm not in a position to be able to do that. Okay?
Thanks. Anybody else? May I please have a motion?
All right. I make a motion that we recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors of rezoning 23-0008 Cardinal Ridge Eastern State Rezoning public lands to MU, mixed use. With whatever conditions.
Conditions, yep.
It's not conditions, it's proper.
Proffer, right.
Conditions as proper.
Ms. Istenis, please call the vote.
Mr. Polster?
No.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Everson?
Yes.
Mr. May?
Yes.
Dr. Haskins?
Yes.
Mr. Haldeman?
No.
Motion carries 4-2.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, everybody. Planning Director's report. Ms. Istenis?
I don't have anything additional to add. If
Thank
you
you.
have questions?
Any questions? Sure.
Procedurally, have we been 3 and 3, what happens?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
We were just,
Had we gone 3 and 3 instead of 4 to 2?
that would have gone to the planning, to the Board of Supervisors. That's all.
I think it's
What-
a
what?
no recommendation, right? A neutral or no recommendation, then, yeah.
There's no policy committee meeting this month, is that correct?
That's correct. The
Okay.
Board of Supervisors coverage for January 13th is Mr. Everson. Uh-huh. Yep.
And for December?
December,
Me.
January.
Oh,
I have December.
oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Susan, is that not right?
I was just opening the report to see.
I got ahead of
Because it's in
myself.
there on the, second to last page or last page.
I have, on the 13th of January,
Let's see. December 2025 is Frank Polster.
We know what
January-
cases are going to be?
January 2026 is Jay Everson.
We know what's going to be on the agenda for the board?
We do, and it is posted right now. I think it's 2 cases and,
Which ones, Tom?
do you know, Tom?
nothing controversial, I know that.
No, I think they were.
Yeah,
pretty-
so if you remember from the November Plan Commission, the Liberty Crossing rezoning, it's like that
The sliver of,
sliver change, and then Ford's Village, the proper amendment for Ford's Village is the other item. Supporting my friends.
Tom, can I ask you to send us the minutes of the Ford's Colony one, please?
The Ford's Village.
Yeah, your notes, the planning commission notes.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Morgan and we can get that to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
There will be a DRC meeting Wednesday, the 17th at 4 o'clock. And if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Good meeting.
Yes, it was.
No one got hurt?